Dave Kingsley, you done any turning this week? Oh yeah, there he is. Let's see what you got. Where'd you go? There he is. There he is.
Hey, Dave.
Yeah, just a little piece.
Ooh, what is that?
That is Northern Purple Beach.
Okay.
Hmm.
Beautiful.
Wow. Looks like a
Purple
feather on
Beach.
inside.
Feather
That was the
inside.
crotch.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah,
Now
I haven't
inside.
quite figured out how to treat the bark yet. Seems to be on pretty tight.
Yeah.
I,
What finish are you planning on using?
well, I was thinking about shellacking the whole thing. I don't know,
Yeah. If you use the shellac, go ahead and put that on your bark too.
but right now it's just got the abrasive paste and wax thing on it. Yeah,
Right? Looks pretty nice.
Yes, it
thank
is.
you.
Love.
Yeah, this was a very historic tree that grew on the campus where I used to work.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I managed to scarf some, a few 100 pounds of it.
Yeah.
A few hundred pounds. So that's the first of many to come.
I hope so. Although the first piece I did blew up like crazy on me, so
Oh,
you never know.
It happens.
exactly. Yep.
I well know.
Mhm.
I've had a couple blow up recently that one was a nice big, about 12 by 3 apple salad bowl that blew up just as I was getting ready to put finish on it. No pressure. I was buffing off my abrasive paste, and that was, yeah, I was done taking my last pass with my paper towel, and it went to 3 pieces.
Oh my.
So,
Well,
yeah,
the large bowl that I had a couple of weeks ago that I showed that I hadn't taken the tenon off yet. I put it on the lathe to take off the tenon, launched it, and split it right down the middle.
yeah, wow. This is the remnants of that bowl. I put 2 pieces of walnut in, trying to save it, but my walnut was too heavy, and I didn't have it trimmed down. I was getting close, but I didn't pay enough attention, didn't get it all even, and so it was never going to work, unfortunately. So it's firewood at this point. I don't know why it's still sitting around.
I keep stuff like that sometimes just to remind me,
Yeah,
don't
every
do it
once in a while,
again.
and something might pop in my head a way to fix that.
That's
So
what I was thinking.
that's kind of why I'm leaving it sit around. Maybe in a dream or something, something will come along.
Hmm. That's how
But
they
the
come to
apple,
me. Hmm.
yeah, the apple is thin, so it's going to be tough to do anything to make a repair on it.
Hmm.
I had something else. What was it I had? Um, I don't know. Oh, it's right here. This is a big um, desert olive bowl that I may have showed this a couple weeks ago. I went through the bottom.
Ooh.
I got it too thin when I was coring. I cored the center out of it. I still got the core, but when the core popped out, it took the center with it. And I tried to repair it. Yeah, you can kind of see right there. I've got a little Mopani repair right there, and it let go just before I was finished with it. So, uh, you know, and then I've done 3 small bowls since then, and they've all been wonderful, including this one that I showed y'all a while ago, the blue paint on
Hmm.
it. My wife said, "Why'd you put blue on the inside?" And I said, "Well, because I always dye the outside, and I wanted to do something different." So, but I've done
Well,
2 others similar size, different design over the last couple of weeks, and then I did. Um, well, what did I do last night? Oh, I guess it was just a little small piece that I did last night. Um, anyway, I'm looking forward to tonight.
And tell us what you're gonna make tonight.
I'll tell you in a minute.
Okay.
Savings.
In about 88 minutes or something like that.
All righty. That's all
No,
right.
how about 78 minutes? That sounds better.
Okay. Hi, Matt. What's Matt been up to?
Howdy. Matt's been in the shop today, even though it's like 90 degrees in there today.
Oh, come on. Where's your air conditioner?
Yeah, in the bloody house where it belongs. I've seen new inspiration from being at Campbell's Hands-On Retreat 2 weeks ago. So I'm still working on some of that, and I've got a stack of things I want to make. So I've got some, and I'm doing some pieces. I'm doing some example pieces for some classes I've got coming up. So busy.
Yeah.
I'd be putting an air conditioner in that garage then if I was you.
Yeah, not sure I'm allowed to.
Oh, well.
I've got
Is it not-
fans. So what's
Is
that?
it not attached? It's not attached to the house.
It is. It's not my decision to make. So
Yeah, but you don't. Well, I just say you don't have air conditioning in your garage as part
Correct.
of the house.
correct.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got some insulation. I mean, there's a stone facade, and it's on a slab, and it faces north, so it doesn't get direct sun.
Right.
So and the walls are drywalled at least, but there's no insulation. So it's for the same reason that I don't turn when it's like 25 below.
Right.
Because it's just there's no way I can heat it that much,
Yeah. I feel so fortunate that my shop is in the basement and I've got heat and air conditioning.
Yep, and you're in the basement. I mean, in the basement, your issue is you've got a space issue, and because you're cramped, and you have to seal things off from the dust. So, but at least temperature wise, you're in good shape. So yeah,
seal off from dust. Who seals from dust? The storage area.
Do not mention this to Mrs. Miller. Got it.
You're exactly right. The storage part of our basement is totally dusty. It's terrible.
Okay.
I built a wall when we came in. This wall right here was not here when we moved in. It goes from front to back. I put it up myself with the intention. I've got 2 doorways in it, and I've got 2 doors, but the doors have never been put in.
Captain Eddie.
Well, hey, one of the things I've done, Doug, is because I was told that my garage shop was too dusty. So I've got floor to ceiling painter, some heavy duty painter's plastic.
Yeah.
And I just sort of did some overlap for the door. So I've got it comes together. I got a slit, and then I've got an overlap over that area, and that has really dramatically reduced the dust escaping, shavings escaping.
I have thought of doing that. Just throw some plastic up just for that. But I think I've got doors. Why do I need the plastic?
Yeah, right.
One or the other. One or the other. And
well, the entertaining part about that is it would take you a weekend to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's too busy turning.
20 minutes.
Right. Yeah. Well, a weekend, I meant, all right, I take an hour after lunch and do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, I did put my air cleaner in directly in front of this lathe. It's 5 feet right in front of the lathe. And I can put a new filter on the front of that, and it's dirty in 2 days because it's drawing so much dust through it. So it does a good job, but just doesn't do enough. I could use another one just like it hanging right below it.
Sure.
And
well,
the
cool.
back.
Well,
this is my vacuum cleaner right here. So when I'm sanding, I pull it right up against my work.
Yeah, that's what I do too. The dust and the dust just goes right in. Yeah, I'm with you 100%. Yeah.
What do you have your dust collector standing on?
This is a stand.
Let's hold it up.
If I can. It's heavy. It's a big heavy pipe on a four-way leg. It's a stand.
Okay.
That's what this came on. It came on this stand. So it's it pivots up and down. You can see right here the bracket. I can slide it forward, back and forward. The vacuum line hooks on the back, and I've got somewhere. There's a big, like a big scoop that goes on the front of this, but I found that this actually draws more dust in, like this. So I have
one of those scoops too, and that is exactly the same thing that I found as well.
Right. The big yellow heavy metal. I've got a big plastic one that goes on the bottom of a table saw, and I may stick that on here and just experiment and see how well that does.
Yeah, well, the one I have is the big plastic one that's like a foot square. It's yeah,
that's what this is.
Yeah,
but the straight hose works better.
Yeah, straight hose works better. And one of the things I discovered is using that is it prevented me from getting the opening close enough to the work, so I would see the dust like collecting in the bottom of the big hood thingy.
Wow.
And not going into the the opening, the hose opening.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Mine does that too.
Here's this is the one that came on here. It's metal.
Gotcha.
6 in there, something like that.
Yeah.
The whole idea was to bring it up. Well, do I have to take that all the way out? I guess I do. The idea was to use this when I was turning pins, and it would, you bring it right up and your pin's laying right across here, draws it out. Well, if you're doing a pin, that's fine. But a bowl or a platter, no.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm with you.
Spindle work.
Yeah, it's for spindle work. That's what that's for. But if I take it off like this.
And small spindle work.
Yes. Yeah, because it's only 12 inches wide. Or thereabouts, 10, 12. What I have seen here lately is if on the end of this, if I make a piece, it'll go in, but come out and round and just kind of curl around. That is supposed to break up some of the vertex that develops around here. Vortex. And it's supposed to actually collect a little more dust. I don't know, but it's worth a try. Won't cost anything to turn one other than a chunk of wood.
Maybe you should put that on your list after doors.
Probably no, it'll go before doors.
Yeah.
Where did you get that stand and pipe combination?
All of this came from Woodcraft. My father purchased it. He was going to start turning, and he got as far as pins and kind of quit as I got taken off with mine. And then here lately, the last 3, 4, 5 years, he started doing more pin or more bowl turning. So every time I go to visit him, I got to give him about an hour and a half lesson every time, which is fine. I don't mind doing that at all. But when I moved away from Louisville, he gave me this and a few other things. And so, but yeah, that's how I ended up with that. But that's a nice heavy stand. It's heavy. I have to move it intentionally. I can't accidentally move it. So
that might be something that we can make about, just like what we did with the taking an office chair apart, and using the legs.
Sure. Well, except this isn't, this is all purchased. It's not. The one thing I have had to do, because the vacuum hose doesn't fit exactly. Well, this one does, I guess. There for a long time, I had an adapter in there. I think I was using a different vacuum maybe. And I do have an adapter for the other lathe that I'm going to use tonight for my vacuum chuck. I'll show you all that when we go over there after a while.
Yeah, I've got one that I basically, you guys have seen it, I've shown it before, but I hook it to my lathe bed. It's got a little sort of a hook and sort of hangs out the back about the same distance. Mine's a little lower because it hooks onto my lathe bed, but it just, it hooks onto my lathe bed and angles the opening right into the bottom of my work. And I made a little adjustment thing very similar to what Doug has on there, a thing with the slot through the middle of it there. And little thing to hold the end of my dust hose, and that's what I'd use. So
Right. Anything to draw that dust before so much of it gets airborne.
yeah,
The more we collect, the better off we are.
yep. The less it's going to get in our lungs and other places.
Yeah. The rest of
Yeah,
the house.
yeah, right. I'm not worried about the rest of the house except for peaceful purposes.
Right.
But I have discovered that, like you have, Doug, is that when it works best if I get that opening up close to the work.
Yeah.
Because the work is actually carrying the dust for a little bit, and you can see that when you're sanding, especially if you're power sanding, you can see the dust rivulets on the work as it's spinning. And so you want that up close to your work. So as that stuff starts to be propelled off of the work, it's being sucked into the dust collector.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what I use is an old blower out of a house. My furnace blew up, and I grabbed the blower out of it, and I have that with a metal air, dryer duct, and with that I can adjust it wherever, right up next to everything, and it'll practically suck the stuff right out of the chuck.
That's a good thing. That's a real good thing. I was going to do my air cleaner with one of those furnace fans. I've got one from forever ago, but I decided I want to keep because I use it as a fan, and it blows a lot of air. So I picked up a exhaust fan made for dust and the like, and built a box around it. Put a couple of the white cloth air filters in front of it, and it does a good job. I just got to change the filters more often than I do.
Hi,
everybody.
I have to tell you, I was in commercial sheet metal, and I designed exhaust hoods and things. In industry, they don't worry too much about you getting the dust. Number one, they don't want, it costs money to clean things up. And in industry, you suck the stuff right off of the equipment, and it goes in a cyclone and goes in a dumpster behind the place. They don't have time to shovel up stuff off the floor and that sort of thing. So you design a hood for each piece of equipment, and everyone's different, but the hardest part is you're on the right track. Your biggest problem is that 5-inch in front of your lathe. If you took the 2.5 right up and put it right up to where you're working, or the whatever it is, or if you took the 5-inch all the way back to the main, you get way more volume and you take way more dust out. That 2.5-inch hose, you can't get anything through that. And you put 10 foot of that in there with all this, the serrations, the flexible hose. You have a heck of a time sucking anything through that.
Right.
Fans. Everybody talks about fans, blowers, and all that sort of thing. A fan, a propeller fan, is made to move air, to blow air around the room. And a squirrel cage fan is made to blow about a third of the amount of air against pressure. If you take a propeller fan and put it against a piece of ductwork, you can't blow anything through it. I mean, it just doesn't work. But just thought I'd say a couple of things like that. Just I designed, people think, oh, they're going to make a lot of dust over this lathe, to put a hood over the whole lathe. Well, you have to move 4 million cubic feet a minute to suck anything out of there. And the best part is it goes past your face before it goes up the hood.
Yeah.
It just, there's so much to it. The best way to do that is to take, Doug, what do you got, a 5-inch dust collector? Step down to about a 2.5-inch hose?
This is a 3-inch, 3.5-inch.
Oh, it looks like 5.
I'll tell you. It's OD is 4 inches going to a shop vac hose.
Yeah. Well, that's okay, but if you took the shop vac hose right up to the end of where that thing is and pointed it in the right direction, you do a way better job.
You're probably right. Probably right. I'm sure you're right.
As soon as you start spreading out the amount of suction you're doing, you're sucking air that you don't need. If you get the key to picking up dust is you take the smallest opening with the same amount of air right at the pickup point. You can't do it 3 feet away. You got to get it right up where you're at. But
yes, sir.
Anyway, just thought I'd say something.
Has anybody
Thanks,
seen
Jim.
that?
Thanks, Doug or Jim.
Yeah.
Has anybody seen that velocity stack like thing that Mike Peace did a few weeks ago?
That was the thing I was talking about a while ago, that making a cone of some sort and it velocity stack. That's a good way of saying it. His point, and I think it's well made, there seems to be, over something like this, there seems to be a bit of a vortex that you got to get this even closer. That thing, it takes that away so that you can have a little space there and get a little more suction away from it. But it's still, you got to have that still. It's got to be close. Got to be close.
So who else has done some turning this week? Anybody?
Yeah, I got stuff for gallery when you get there. I've done some turning and some decorating, so I'll put it in the chat.
Well, how about we just do it right now?
All right.
Go ahead.
There you go. Okay, so
You're up.
one of the classes I teach is on an offset natural edge bowl, and basically what you do is you take a piece of wood and you sort of set it a little bit offset between centers and make your tenon, and you get something that's weirdly shaped. And this piece of wood was kind of flat to begin with, so you know, the goal is to not mount it on centers, but to mount it so you get one end longer and different, you know, different height, different shape than the other, one side. So this is box elder. It's still wet. I can feel it. Just came off the lathe this evening. So,
Wow.
So, and it's not that different than turning a bowl. You just have, you know, empty space to turn. So it's a great like next step. You know, okay, I've turned 20 bowls. What do I do next? You know, how do I turn natural edge pieces? This is a lot of fun to do, and you get some really wacko stuff.
It looks scary to me.
It's fun. If you guys would like to see that, I think I'm doing a demo in like 2 weeks, and I can show it then.
Cool.
I think it'd be a good follow-up to what Wuakeene did last week.
Okay, you're right. So, and you guys have seen the mushrooms I make. Well, I carved the top of one into little leaves, and then I painted it with interference paint.
Oh yeah.
And then I put these chameleon flakes on it, and you can't really see them all that well. There we go. That change color in the light, which is a lot of fun. So this is too bright, it's washing out, maybe there. But the paint changes color as I rotate it, and the flakes have a sort of a green base. And so this is fun. So
that's cool.
I just saw, that is neat. I just saw that the Walnut Log is selling those chameleon flakes.
Yes. Matter of fact, Jeff was at Ron Campbell's 2 weeks ago.
Right.
So yeah, so that's where I got him.
Okay. Yeah.
He's selling the ones he's selling are the ones from Emma Cook, the Tiny Turner. Okay. And he sells both flakes and dust. I think they call it dust.
Yes.
So these are the flakes. The flakes are like little bits of foil, gold foil or gold leaf foil or whatever. And they were a real pain to put on here. I still have some embedded in my desk here where I was doing it. I was like, don't do it anywhere where there's a breeze or you're not, you know, you don't have a lot of space where you can just pick it all up and, you know, it's like glitter. Okay. It gets everywhere.
Right.
I had it in my hair. I had it in my clothes. It was crazy. And I did it right here where there's no wind and no nothing, you know, breathing is enough to cause stuff that, but
the dust is better, but not much.
Yeah, the dust, it's a different effect.
Yes.
I mean, the flakes are a little bigger than the dust, and you still have to use size, which is, I've got two different versions of size here. So the ones that they were using at Ron Campbell's was this stuff. It's backwards on my screen. I hope it's frontwards on your screen.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. But sizing is basically a glue. And it's the same sort of glue you use for gold foil or gold leafing or any of that kind of stuff. It says metal leaf size, and you're using this stuff. And what you do is you spread the glue where you want it, where you want the stuff to stick. And then you wait like 30 minutes. It kind of dries and gets tacky. And then you very lightly dust the flakes on with a soft brush to where you want them to stick. And then you wait a bit. And then you brush the flakes off, and you get a ton of this dust and flakes and stuff everywhere. So yeah, be advised, you don't want any air movement, or you'll be doing it in a cloud of glitter. So.
Yeah.
But I'd like, and this looks a lot cooler in sunlight and in real life. I really like how the colors change, and I like what it did. I'm going to do some more. I've got like a notebook full of ideas. So. But it's a lot of fun, and I've got some dust on order right now too. The flakes was what I had, so that's what I used.
Cool.
So, and I've done a lot of I've been making things for classes and stuff too. I don't have anything to show, but I made a bunch of jam chucks for students to use, and the ones I had made were to use with goblets were not effective, so I copied I made wood ones that look like what Don Doyle Rubber Chucky made. So they'll, I'm going to, direct people to Rubber Chucky's site if they want them, but I'll use these for classes. So questions?
All good.
That's what I have.
Let's see if Bob Clark says he has something to show. Hi, Bob.
Yeah, Bob.
Hi. Our local club had a challenge to copy something, and Nick Agar had made his Viking sunset bowl.
Oh.
And I thought I would give it a try. And I was in Louisville, and I picked up all the stuff. As a matter of fact, I picked it up from the Walnut Log, the necessary to do this. And then I realized Nick Agar is making a living selling stuff to make his bowl. But it was my first attempt at doing a lot of things. First attempt with an airbrush. First attempt with the dyes. I've stained wood before, but it's the first time I used colored dyes, and it's the first time I used the gilt cream. So I finished it with kind of a matte finish, which I really like the way it came out on the dark pieces here, but on the inside it's not quite shiny enough, so I may have to come back and do something there to make it a little more shiny, but that's that.
That is one pretty bowl.
Very nice, Bob.
Well, yeah, and we'll see. I don't know if I'll ever make another one, but
if you do, one of the things that Nick does with his is he undercuts the rim and very lightly sprays black underneath the rim. So there's a clearer transition. Go look at the ones he has on his own site, and you'll see that. But what he does is underneath the rim, on the far side as it's spinning around on the lathe, he very lightly sprays black under the rim. So there's an actual black transition underneath the undercut rim.
Ah, okay.
So it doesn't go abruptly from the rim into color. There's a little bit of a black undercut there. So, but that's very nice. Very well done.
Good tip. I'll try that. And then,
what do you think of the gilt cream?
I like it. It's this technique he uses. He tries to keep the gilt cream from going into the little indentations he made with the texture tool, and
yes.
That's a little hard to do because it wants to go there.
Yes, it does. And once it's in there, there's no getting it out.
That's true. I figured that out too. And I also figured out I made this out of hard maple, and I think he uses English sycamore, which is kind of more like poplar. And I don't think I'd make another one out of hard maple. So there's that. And then here's something, I don't know that I've ever showed this before, a little box I made.
Oh,
I was learning how to use my texturing tool and I kind of went crazy on it. So
that is nice.
Well, how did you do this, the texture there?
the knurled part,
Yeah.
you take like the Sorby texturing tool, the big one, and you start making lines one direction.
Okay.
Then you have that line on the texturing tool that tells you what position it's in. Then you move it over to the other side to the same spot, and you start on the other side, and you go the other direction.
Gotcha.
Then when you're done, you make sure you go past where you want your finished part to be.
Gotcha.
Then you trim it off. I noticed it was real brittle, even though it's hard maple, it was real brittle. So then I just went over it with CA glue, and I didn't spray any accelerator on it because I didn't want it to foam up or anything. And I just came back to it a few hours later, and that was that.
That is pretty.
That's very cool.
Yeah, the finial's built into the lid. So anywho,
Very pretty little piece.
Nice, yeah. Real nice.
Okay, that's mine. So
Let's go see what Ron Vincent.
I'm here,
Where?
right here.
I don't see you.
I
Stop.
don't know why. I see me.
Don't see you.
I got him.
Oh, wait, there he is.
Okay, now I'm here.
Yes.
I have a small box, bowl, whatever, with a lid.
Oh, cool.
It is a piece of elm, and I've done what I can't think of his name, not Martin, the other English gentleman. So I did filling with copper on some cracks and crevices. You see it.
Nice. Like that shape.
Well, I had to do something different.
And I love the way
Then
that lid sits down inside like that. That is real cool.
Yeah, I just tapered it. And then it's actually spalted birch, and then the finial is walnut.
Very good.
Very cool.
Do you taper that by eye, or is it?
Well, I measured top and bottom and how high it was. I didn't put an angle finder or anything on it. So I just figured out what the angle was that way, and it get close enough.
Mm-hmm. Very nice.
Cool. Well, let's see what Roger Wallum has.
All right. I've got to get it back your way.
Ooh.
This is a urn I'm making for myself.
Mm-hmm. That's a pretty one.
And it's all walnut except for the lid. Lid's maple. And I'm still working on it. It needs some more coats of tung oil on it, shining it up a little bit.
It's not shiny enough for you yet?
Not yet. It's got to last a long time.
That's pretty shiny. Man, I can see your screen in that thing. That's pretty. Very nice. What kind of
It's still on the faceplate down here.
right. How did you do the lid? Did you is it threaded?
Yeah, it's plastic.
Okay, you used the PVC?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
As you can see, it's not screwed all the way down right now.
Okay. Good job.
Hey, Brenda, Eddie's in the house.
Yeah, I seen him come in a little bit ago. Thanks, Roger.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice.
Hey, Eddie.
Good
I've been
job.
hanging out watching. I'm just watching.
I know. I hollered at you a minute ago. You must not have heard me when you first came in.
No, I little
You got
audio
your camera
problem.
on. You what?
Nope. I had a little audio problem. That's all. Okay. Now, the reason I don't have my camera on is Parafix. You know what Parafix is?
No.
3408.
Yeah.
Oh, Parfix. Okay.
Parfix. Yeah.
Parfix 3408. I was in the hospital the other day and I smelled Parfix 3408 and I couldn't figure out what they were doing with it. Well, I finally figured out what they were doing with it. This is what we ended up with.
Okay.
Yeah. We're wearing headgear. This has to be done by cellular tonight because we're trying to find out why my seizures continue, and they restricted my movements. And this is what I have to do I have a couple more days. And let me tell you, if you ever have to have this type of thing done, don't do it when you're setting record temperatures in your area.
Oh.
It isn't, well, it's not fun anyway, but it has made it a challenge. But it's painless. But
okay.
The lady was putting the tabs on, and really nice folks doing it, and she's squirting stuff on, and she says, I guess you're wondering what this is. And I said, sounds like Parafix, 34 watt. And she says, really? And I said, yeah. She said, she's looking at the bottle. She looks at my wife. She says, that's what it is.
Didn't affect your smeller at all, did it?
No.
That's a great way to segue into saying, well, I'm a wood turner, and then start showing her your wood stuff.
Yeah, I thought, we use that to hold the sawdust in.
That's right. Put the wood back on the lathe once we take it off.
That's it. Yeah.
So this is why we didn't have video up. So that's
all right.
Hey, Eddie, at least you don't have to worry about it sticking to your hair when they pull it out.
Oh,
nice line.
If you use that on your head, you'll never get it off.
Hey, Cap, it's good. It's good to see you anyway, regardless of what you're wearing.
Hey, I'm still here. Still here, like crabgrass. Can't get rid of me.
like a bad penny, right?
That's it. But having fun. Y'all having a good time tonight. I'm seeing some beautiful work. Really beautiful work. It's so nice. What I enjoyed, I was just sitting back watching, listening, but for new members that are just joining or just coming in, where are your friends? Have you invited your friends? That's what I got to ask you straight up. Not if you're enjoying yourself, if you like this, just where are your friends? Because I know the answer to the other two. I know you're enjoying it. I know you like it. That's why you're here. But bring in a friend or two, because what you're listening to, what you're seeing, all the folks that are participating, all of these turners are your friends. And they all got together. This is number 196. Meeting number 196. We got together almost 4 years ago to do just this. Sit around and talk about wood turning. There's no politics. You don't have to belong to any group, organization, or club, or magazine, or anything else.
No money changed hands.
Nothing. We've made one major purchase in the history of the club, and that's to buy the stickers that we sell. And that didn't work out really well, but what the hell? We're still at it. We still got stickers, and they're still available, and the information's on our website. But just because we want to spread word. And I'm working on a deal now to get those stickers to Spot, because I'm told this week that I can't travel. So Spot's not in my plan right now. My plane fare was paid for, my hotel was paid for, and all that stuff. But they tell me that this and travel won't go along right now. But I'm going to get those stickers to SWAT. I'm going to have all you folks, all you members going to SWAT passing out those stickers. We're going to be a big thing there. We are a big thing. But we have so many more members out there that want to join us. You want to sit down with us on Wednesday nights, and sit on a tailgate. I keep using that phrase, sitting on a tailgate. Isn't that what you used to do at a club meeting? When all the business was done, when all the revoir and all that stuff was handled, and it was all formal. You went on the tailgate. Bob put his tailgate down, and you sat on Bob's tailgate, and you proceeded to lie. I mean, explain things. Didn't you? I mean, that's
right.
what you
That's
do.
right.
Yeah. And you're since you're on a tailgate out in the parking lot, it's all legal. It's all okay.
That's right.
And if you're talking about dust collection and 3-inch pipes and 2-inch pipes and rib pipes and all that, yeah, Jim Duxbury, oops, I'm sorry, have to quiet that for a second. Jim Duxbury had it right. When you want information about moving dust around in your shop and collecting dust and all, go to the air conditioning man. They move more air with less effort than anybody else. And if you can find a fat guy who's an air conditioning man, he's going to get the most done with a less effort than anybody else. Really. But you will learn that all that flexible hose, that's really cute. You did use the term cute. Go to your 4 and a 5-inch snap together pipe and then seal the joints. And I'm talking seal them and reduce the bends. No 90s, let's go 45s. Let's do a good layout. Let's do a pre-assemble before you snap everything together. Look at what you have to turn. There are reasons why when you put plumbing pipe in, you put too many bends in a drain line, it'll clog up. Put too many bends in a vacuum line, it'll clog up too. You start having bumping on corners, and there'll be pockets and 80s created. And I went to a guy that was an air conditioning man, Jimmy Brister, and he said he looked at what I had put in, and he said, "That is so cute. That is so nice." I heard cute come out first. I had a 2.5-inch clear pipe system I bought at Home Depot, and he said, when you're done with that, they come in 3-foot lengths. You can use those 3-foot lengths to hold up tomato plants in your garden, because that's what they're really good for. And they don't rot. And I said, come on, get out of here. And he says, well, then he gave me a regular smooth garden hose and blow through it. And then that's my boss checking in. And then he got another a corrugated hose and blew through it. And he said, you can feel the reduction in force going through it because of what it is going through. So Jim Duxbury gave it to you right there. You need help moving dust, think about going to an air conditioning guy, a fat air conditioning guy. That's the condition. My daddy always said, you want to see how something's done easy? Find a fat guy. That's the rule. But he's getting it done and he's fat. Hey, how much effort is he putting out? But, I have tried those pans and the squash and all that stuff. And I don't recommend doing it, but I had somebody do it. A club I used to belong to would do a pig roast every spring. And we'd do it at a fellow's farm place. And we'd do a belt sander drag race and some other fun events. And it was good old great time of just nothing formal, just a whole bunch of boys getting together and being boys and girls and, messing around and all. And the guy, we were talking about fireworks, put fireworks onto our belt sanders to see smoke coming out of them and all. And he says, well, I got to get that smoke out of my shop. And he picked up a dust collector nozzle that went large and then neck back down again. And I started to pull the end of it off. He said, "Oh no, that's on purpose because that creates a vortex." See that, Jim? Doug, a vortex creates a vortex. When he put that thing on, it was like the cloud jumped into the machine.
Yeah.
When he took that nozzle off, nothing jumped. It was moving to it. But before then, the whole thing turned around. He'd created an eddy of air that came around to that nozzle, and it picked up. It didn't move more air, it moved more concentrated air. And he said, "I don't have an industrial in my place." And he used to build and repair furniture as a sideline to wood turning to pay for his wood turning. So, but he'd learned from air conditioning and running air conditioning ducts. So there are tricks to all this stuff, and that's why we're all here on Wednesday nights to talk about where we can get these tips and hints. I love it. That's why we do this.
I have to tell you, in industry, they not only move dust, shot blasters, when they have 4 tons of shot that are the size of a BB, and they want to move it out of the shot blaster and put it in a bin. They suck it out of there and run it through a cyclone, and that dust collector's got to work. Breweries get all their hops and their grain and stuff in boxcars. The guy jumps in that boxcar, he pulls the top out of the door and sticks a 14-inch hose in there that's screaming. And it sucks that stuff in and takes it up 4 stories and puts it in a bin up there. It's not a dust collector. It unloads a boxcar in like 15 minutes, and there's a lot of stuff in a boxcar.
Yeah.
But anyway, they use it. It's not just for protecting your health, but in industry, they move material with it. They even take wire and stuff off of metal lathes and suck up oil contaminants and all that sort of thing. They don't have time, and that time is money. And you don't have guys running around with shovels and wheelbarrows picking that stuff up. It has to be sucked up and moved. And the key to most of it is not just the blower and all that stuff. It's the orifice, what you're doing, the pickup point. You can use way less air, move way more stuff if you pick it up right at the source rather than try to hood the whole area.
Right.
The whole science.
It really is. It's amazing. But let's get beyond gimmicks. There are no gimmicks out there to do this. Got to go back to where it all got started, physics. For a lesson in physics, we can do that. But it's all in physics. So, all right. We're doing gallery, folks. We're visiting. I'm Captain Eddie Castellan. Sitting there with Jim Duxbury, Doug Miller. We all the way down in Australia tonight with Don Masterson. I see him hanging out with us. Earlier, we were talking about another Turner from Britain, Great Britain, and that would have been Paul Hannaby. Paul Hannaby and Martin Clarkson are 2 of our members that come out of Great Britain. And they're with us each week. And it's wee early mornings tomorrow that we're talking to them. And they join us, a bunch of other folks. And we get together and we share what you want to share. Remember, there is no real locked in format. But there is one thing locked in. We are non-commercial. We are absolutely, positively non-commercial. I can tell you, I really like to use Starbond CA glue. I do. I like the family. But are they the best? Who am I to judge that? So we don't do that kind of stuff. We don't tell you that you got to use Kenny's tools or Bob's SKUs or whatever. No, that's all up to your choice. We recommend you use good tools and good equipment and be safe. And that pretty much locks us in there. But
Boss just came in, Eddie.
Boss y'all saw that?
Yeah.
And she's shaking her head like I should have answered that phone. Yeah. I really had intentions of doing it. She's over there, yeah. So I ain't turning the camera off in case there's a beating coming. Okay.
Smart.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's just kidding, folks.
Alrighty. So we can go back to gallery in a little while. Doug Miller, I tell you, when I tuned in tonight, pop over to Doug. Somebody pop over to Doug. Bring Doug up here. Look at that. When I saw that, I was wondering what are we going to be served for dinner tonight?
Oh, this. Yeah, well, this is the new turning smock. I've been wearing this for, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks now. I really like it. It's a lot of fun. At least it's not bright white like somebody else's.
Mine is not bright white anymore either.
I was going to say, I'd turn that bright white into dusty brown real quick.
It is. It is.
That is
so sleeves folded up as fold
I want y'all to see. This has been shown internationally all around the world now. So no excuses. Put your stickers up where people can see them. Let them be seen.
That's right. And that keeps you from getting catches and improves your skew cutting significantly.
Absolutely. I tell you what, I gave one when I was at AAW. I gave one to the Outlaw, and he's got it on his big wall behind where he turns. So, it's getting out there.
We get them on your lace, folks. Get them on your tools. Yep. See, when you first came on, I was looking on the wall over your right shoulder to see, can I find it back in there? And
no, it's not there.
No, there it is.
This is more prominent. And I've got one of the old ones on the other lathe that we're going to be using after a while.
And I gotta say, Doug, that's a very snazzy look. Looks very nice.
Yeah. It's at least it's clean looking. My other one it's an old AAW smock, and it is so stained up now that it just looks horrible. But this at least looks decent. So, and it's gonna get embroidered. My mother's gonna put my name and my whatnot on the one side. Hadn't figured out what I might do on this other side, but we'll do something. I may put Worldwide Woodturners on it.
You got the logo, you could make it into a patch.
Yeah, I would love to get it made into a patch. Yeah.
Didn't the logo get shared here a while back? I know you can order patches individually from a lot of those services.
Yes, you can. I can also, my mother's got a big, it's like an embroidery machine. She could actually make me a patch. So I may do that while I'm having her do my name and whatnot on here.
She could make all of this one.
If it's simple line, if it's simple line art, it can be done that way. If they have the right input, you just got to generate the right input. I think Dane's daughter had that. It did that, and put it as the. There's one of the fonts that you have to, or programs you have to output it as.
Right.
So, my sister, my late sister, had machines, and she did that for me. Put making shavings and some other things for me on smocks. It was nice. We looked at getting a bundle of patches done, but the problem we have as a group would be if we get the patches done. In order to get a good price, we're going to commit to a buy ahead of time, and we committed to the buy ahead of time for the labels, and we're still sitting on 70% of the labels we bought, which we thought would be going like that.
Right.
So can't finance because we got no money. Can't finance that, so we won't be going there. But we're going to find somebody to take care of us on this. I used to buy smocks from a company out of Iowa, and they were the same folks that made the smocks for AAW for years and years, and they were really nice, loose-fitting smocks, back pockets, not front pockets. Had a pen clasp in it, but it wasn't a place to catch shavings. And they would embroider them, put logos on them and stuff for us. We ran into problem. I was buying them, and some other clubs were buying them, and well, somebody got their feelings hurt. The one that was buying the most got to stop selling to the other ones. So, but then I found another company, but it was the folks that made the smocks for Walmart. They didn't have any plain colors. They were really in the retail industry. So that didn't work out. But it's always, but we don't get together and have a whole bunch of us in one room that smokes. It's not going when you go to the SWAT and you look down at the table and there's 40 of the Tolley brothers. There might be 40 Tolley brothers sitting down at a table at one from one club, from the Brazos or the Grand Rapids or whatever these clubs are. Because boy, I tell you what, you talk about packing like clubs. That's the place where you pack in like clubs. And you know, they take 50-foot long, 60-foot long tables, both sides, and they commandeer the place. But they have a good time. They really a good time. If you have something to show on gallery tonight, throw it in the chat. Brenda's watching for us tonight. That's No Band-Aids Brenda. That is her nickname. She picked it up here because she no Band-Aids right now. It's No Band-Aids.
Hey, Eddie.
And, yes, ma'am.
Do you see what Jim Duxbury put in the chat?
No, I didn't. I can't get that up right here.
He says, Eddie, that headgear needs a sticker.
I was thinking the same thing.
Terry said
sticker. He's getting a sticker.
Perfect.
Go.
Right there. Oh, hey, that's class now.
There you go.
There you go.
That's good.
That's class.
That's class.
That's
now.
good.
Really good.
Somebody
Get
get
a screenshot of that.
Yeah, somebody get a screenshot of that and put it on the website.
That should be on the Facebook page.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yes.
I saw that Terry's iPad had a question. So why don't we go to Terry and see what his question is?
What you got?
Well,
Terry.
I'm here. You got me?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Without this blowing up into a long-term thing, last week I showed you a lampshade and told you I was going to try to make another one. And the other one is in the recovery room. And I've decided that what I want to do is pierce it. But I have never pierced one. And I really don't have the right tools. And I'm looking online and there's so much confusing stuff. I thought maybe I could get a little input from what would be the best to order. Like they got the handsets, and then I don't know how you hook the hoses up to it. It looks like it's got another hose and another connector. And then there's no less than 40 million different kinds of burrs to buy. And I don't know how you can buy kits that are made up, but they're like $300 or $400. And I really don't think I need to spend that much money. So any inputs, if you don't want to bring it all up and take up all the time, you could put some in the chat if you've got some information, or maybe somebody could do a quick demo on some. I know we got a lot of guys that do piercing, and I'm not as concerned about the actual piercing of it as I am the tool setup. So
if I may jump in, Terry, I have what's called an NSK clone. NSK is like the industry standard. It's a I don't have it here. It's down in the shop somewhere in a box. It's an air turbine. It's got 4 slots on the end. You only have to have air into one of those slots and one of those holes. And NSK is the industry standard. I got a clone off of some Chinese site that cost me like $20 or something, $17 or something like that. And then I bought a regulator from Harbor Freight. So my air from my air compressor goes into the regulator from Harbor Freight, and what comes out the other end is a hose that goes directly into my little dental drill. So you can control how much air is going into the turbine that way, and then all you really need is just a simple 1/16 shaft burr of some kind. And almost any of them will work, but the ones that have worked the best for me are like basic carbides, like a cylinder. And because what you're going to do when you do the piercing is you're going to go around your design a bunch of times and you're burning your way through it very quickly because it's going at 400 RPMs or 400,000 RPMs, right? So, but that's my experience with it. It does work. I have been able to do it with my micromotor. If you've got a micromotor, you can do it with a micromotor. It just takes a little longer.
Not happy with that. Not happy with that. Not near enough speed, and the bits aren't good enough. I played with it a little bit, but I'm looking for something that'll. I'm thinking I'm going to run a few sample pieces, but I've got in mind a rather large lamp, and it needs to have good control and a good cutting. You know, I'm talking maybe a few thousand holes or more.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm certainly. Yeah, that's my experience. So I'll certainly cede the floor to whoever has more or better experience with it. So,
hey Matt.
Yes.
You get to be buddies with your dentist and have them save their old dental bits and give them to you. I
actually have. I actually have a connection to the University of Michigan Dental School. I know two people who are in the program there. And I have they gave me handfuls of these things. So yeah, that's where I got my bits.
Yeah. My dentist gives me a whole package full every time I go there. When they're done with them, they clean them and puts them in a package and gives them to me when I come in.
Yeah, because otherwise they have to throw them out. So that's the way to go, is to get connected with a dentist.
I plan on going to see him tomorrow. And I may get some more insight, but I was kind of figuring the handset that they're looking like $20, $25 if I'm looking at the right ones. And then the coupling to hook the hoses up looks like another $20 that plugs into the back of it, but I'm still not sure what I'm looking at. And I mean, it's not big investment, but I hate buying stuff offline because I never seem to get what I think I'm going to get.
That's true. Dremel just came out with a new line of bits called the Max bits, and what I've seen of them already, they look like they eat some wood. Just MAX by Dremel. They have a whole line of them.
Yeah. Well, I've got a couple of rotary tools, but what I want to do is not going to stand up with a cable drive, and the electric one's just not fast enough. It's only like 18,000. And that's not going to work. So I'm thinking I'm a full-fledged dental tool at 40, 50,000 or 400,000 or whatever it is.
Yeah, my Dremel runs at 35,000.
Yeah, that's pretty quick. Mine doesn't.
Yeah, that's an old one, but yeah. Some of the knockoffs are quite a bit slower, but the real actual Dremels run about 35,000.
Okay. I'll look into that. That's an electric tool?
Yeah. Yep.
You're talking?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, plugged in.
Yeah. Okay. I'll look into that. But I'm still thinking air is the way to go. It's just for the compressor.
It's faster. Your air is going to be faster for sure.
Yeah. Well, from what I see, the speed and everything is crucial to the control. And for the projects I've got in mind, I'm going to need control. You know, working with the slow stuff, I wasn't getting the control. I was forcing it. I was working too hard. And then when you do that, you're going to lose control.
Sure. You might, as you're looking at the Dremel, look at the Dremel Max bits. They eat more wood than what I've been used to seeing Dremel bits do. So, not saying it's enough. It may not be enough for what you're doing, but they're much better than what I've seen before.
Okay. Well, like I say, I want it to work. I don't, if it doesn't work, I'm defeating the purpose. I've got a lot of time to practice and everything, but I want it to be able to do a job.
Sure.
And okay.
Nothing,
well, that's
nothing worse. There's nothing worse than sitting down to do a job and your tools won't do it. That's horrible.
Okay.
You need to be, like I say, you need to be efficient. If it's not efficient, you're not going to have the control.
Right.
And you need to really have top-notch control to get a top-notch piece. You know, of course, none of my pieces are top-notch yet, but I'm working on one yet. Yeah, a long way to go, but I keep trying.
It's better than what I can do, bud.
Anybody else got any gallery? Anything you've turned this week?
Hey, let me jump in. This is Kent, and
yeah,
let me just show you if I can get this here.
Yeah, just a second. There you are. How about
okay, I have a Jim Duxbury funnel, just like that. You know, you get your left and right mixed up and your top and bottom, and you didn't label it and you got in a hurry. But Mr. Jim, I'm gonna work on this. I have another piece of wood, and you know, you've seen his works in AAW. But hey, I just got a text from Dane, and Dane's asking if somebody that's Facebook savvy can share your screen and show us how to hit the going to the Zoom button. He wanted me to bring this up tonight, and I'm usually using a PC, a iPad that's I'm a little easier to work with, but if any Facebookers out there want to show us how can share your screen and show us how to hit the going to the meeting button.
What do you, yeah, I do a lot of Facebooking, but that's not how I get there. I get there from the website. So
okay,
I'm not understood that either but on Facebook, it says, hit the going to the meeting button, right?
Yeah.
Where do you find that at?
Well, I found it, but I had to hunt for it, and I don't want to bore you while
Is it on the Facebook page or is it on the web page?
This is a Facebook page. He puts up lots of little reminders about the wood turners on Wednesday at 5:30, and hit the going button. I want to see that going button. So
it's a highlight at the top of the Facebook page. You'll see something that says highlights. Click on highlights, and that's where you'll find it.
Okay.
Okay. That's my minute. Appreciate it.
That's
all right. Thank you.
Click on highlights.
Okay. Let's see who we're going to now. Hi.
Hey.
Anybody else? Yeah. Hi, guys. Anybody else got anything you want to show tonight? I've not
Brenda, I could show.
I see you now, Jim.
All
right, coming up. I'm finding you. Whoops, it moved. There you go.
Kent, I have to tell you, I got some matching pieces to yours.
You don't say.
And I have one Rita wouldn't let me throw out. This is a same kind of thing. Offset. I didn't cut it all the way through though, so I put a plug in the middle and saved it. But I was talking and not paying attention and took the center right out of it. Happens to the best of them. I got two of these. I just finished two of these. These are 6x6s. Sometimes I make these in pairs. So a lot of people want things in pairs. So
great.
And this is
what kind of wood?
These are cherry.
Okay.
And the offset is straight up and down. You can make the offset go this way too if you'd rather, but or whatever you want. I don't know. And I got another one I did in Cadillacs. Cadillacs is called Mexican ebony. And so was the first one, but that's the way this first one was supposed to turn out. But it came close. But at least I caught it before I had a whole handful of little rings. When you offset this one up and you go on the other side and you offset that one up, you cut right through here, okay? So you get a whole bunch of little rings. This is another thing. I started. This is how I started a long time ago. This is cut on a table saw, the back. That's a 1/4 inch. They make a 1/4 inch blade. Freud makes it for doing a box joint, tenons on a box. Anyway, it cuts a nice square, 1/4 inch wide, or you can turn the 2 blades around and offset them the other way and make these slots 3/8. But and then just turn a set of rings on the inside of it to match.
That's cool.
Neat.
Next.
And then I got a couple of mixed spatulas. These are spatulas.
So well. Cool.
They sell well. Make bread knives to match them and that sort of thing. So you're gonna show? My wife has something to show too. She has.
Sweet.
Well, yeah. She's getting really good.
I want you to know that even the master makes mistakes.
We have to go now.
And when he went through this, he was literally very embarrassed that he did this himself.
I bet he was.
I've been making lighthouses, and I've been making them just out of branches of wood, and turning them on between 2 centers and just creating whatever comes out of them. This is Bradford pear, I believe. And this one I think is a spalted maple.
Oh, nice.
Excellent.
So those are just fun. And there's no real dimensions. It isn't like Jim's work that is measured and exact. Mine is just free form.
Right.
And still beautiful.
And then I'm thinking ahead. So I'm thinking of Halloween things. I don't know if you can see this, but the bat flying by the moon. Can you see the?
Yes.
How neat.
Very nice. Some fun things.
How did you put that on there? How are they stencils, or do you freehand them, or?
That's freehand. It's
oh my goodness.
Actually, those are India ink pens.
Okay.
That color, and then this is just acrylic paint.
And it's got a cap in the top of it for a candle holder, is it?
You can. It is drilled. It's
I
like
thought it looked gold.
a little weed pot or something. Just
okay.
Decorative.
We started sweeping the floor, and if I don't get myself in gear, I'm going to be the one sweeping the floor. I think. Pretty good at this stuff.
Well, I managed to be out in the shop when he's doing something really technical, and then I break a piece of equipment or something. So I managed to bother him a little bit, but that's okay.
Your lighthouses. Wait a minute.
Oh,
your lighthouses. Do you have lights in the lid?
No, they're just drilled through. Actually,
okay.
I use a Forstner bit and drill through, so there's no lights in them. I suppose you could put lights in them.
That would be cute. Yeah.
Yeah, I've made a few, and I'm working on putting LEDs in them.
I'm sorry.
So I'm working on putting LEDs in my lighthouses. Yeah.
Okay.
And I use a little shot glass as the top, so it's got glass in the top.
I think did you show those once, or did you have those on?
I haven't shown them here. I don't have a picture of one,
okay.
But I'm gonna have to make a new one. The other one I gave away.
I started making these, and we went to an outdoor show, and all of the things were really high-end wood turnings, and I decided to just bring these, and I sold every one of them immediately. So it's just a fun thing. People love lighthouses.
Yes, they do.
There's some fascination with lighthouses.
With the off-center bases too, or the uneven bases, those really make them shine.
The other one,
absolutely.
In the bar.
Yeah, I like that one.
She uses all kinds of
Yes, I love that.
The damnedest thing is when she flattens this, it cuts it off on the lathe, just parts it right off. But then as it dries, this is wet wood. As it dries, you can see it forms a crown under here. You never know what they're going to do. But it can be off 3/8 of an inch sometimes a week later.
So
Anyway.
this is my favorite one because this doesn't look like a typical lighthouse, but it's made out of plum wood that a plum tree that fell down in our yard. So it's got a really nice color to it, but they're just fun.
I resemble that one.
Yeah, we all.
Out of a regular piece of wood, you can make just that with no bark.
Love it. Love
I
it.
like the other bases better. They have more character.
I do.
Like the finial on the top of that one.
I agree.
Agreed.
I'll tell you, you can't make one that won't sell because some of the damnedest looking lighthouses you ever seen, especially your first ones. My God, they were the first ones to sell. People just thought those were gorgeous, but he sold a bunch of these.
Good, good.
The shop down has a bunch of these little 18-inch pieces of log laying. Anyway, we do have a good time.
Oh, I bet.
All right. Thanks, Jim. Let's see what we can find at Jeff Allen. Where's he at?
Get off mute. Here I am.
You have to speak up, Jeff.
I don't know if you can find me. Can you see me now here?
Got him.
There we
There
are.
you go.
There we go.
Let me see if I can flip this around there and get the camera to focus. I don't know. It's not focusing. Come on here.
Nope.
Yeah, we'll try one more time here with that.
Go right up to it and then back off.
Yeah. There. Kind of wants focus. Okay. Trying to get it to focus on this piece here.
Oh my
there
goodness.
you go. It's pretty.
Move my hand to it. Maybe if I move it, whatever. There you go.
There. Oh man, that is gorgeous.
Look at that flame on that piece.
Pretty red. Yeah.
We had a guy, Jack Roberts from Florida, did a demo for our club on bottom hollowing this last week, and so that was our challenge for our club, was to turn one of these pieces. I'm really sad that keeps focusing in and out like that. It's weird. But yeah, this is a real pretty piece of flame box elder. It's just got a 3/8 inch hole all the way down the middle there, but it was bottom hollowed from the bottom, and you can hardly even see the tenon that I put back in there because I made the grain match.
Very good.
Oh, okay.
Looks good.
Huh.
Yeah, but
nice.
that flame box elder tree is produced a lot of different scraps, and I can't throw a piece of it away because it always surprises you when you throw a piece of it on the lathe.
Oh yes.
Box elder's
wow.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
One of my favorite woods. Yes.
Let me turn this back around here. Maybe it'll work better this way with the camera. But I also have this little piece here, and Matt, that's always on here, was teaching this up at Dave Curley was teaching this up at Ron Campbell's retreat. I made this one up there doing the basket weave on the natural edge bowls. So that one came out real pretty too.
Yes, it did. Very nice.
Well, that's the two pieces I have from this week. I haven't been real busy. Been having to do that work thing that keeps getting in the way.
Oh, quit doing that.
That 4-letter word.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
That was beautiful work. Let's see if we can find Christian Jensen. Where are you at?
I got him.
There he is.
Christian.
Unmute myself. Okay.
Yep, I hear you.
Hi. Kent and I are from Lubbock, Texas. We're good buddies. I made this urn just recently. It's 10.5 inches tall and about 8 inches wide. I made it out of walnut. And then when I was making the Thunderbirds, I used a piece of oak to cut my edges to make sure that the pieces were going to be wide enough to fit in there. And I thought, well, why waste that piece of wood? So I cut it and put the oak on the outside, and then these are maple.
It's beautiful.
I made a bunch of these. I had several of them at SWAT several years ago. I donated to the Beads of Courage.
Wow.
That's what I've been up to lately.
Yeah. What's the finish there?
It's just lacquer.
Pretty.
How did you do the lid? Is it a lid?
It's a
snap
just
fit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
cool.
I got it just snug enough to just kind of go in a little bit.
Cool.
And
That's
if you
gonna
fill it
be
with
the-
ashes, you can just put a little bead of glue around it.
Right.
It'll seal it forever.
That's going to be the grand prize at the South Plains Fair in September, right there.
No, I hope to. I'm going to put it in. I've got 2 or 3 other projects I want to get done before September, but we'll see what happens.
That is beautiful.
Very nice, Christian.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing it.
You bet.
Well, that's all I see on the list right now. Anybody else? Where are we going? Anybody else done any turning this week? How about Sue? I seen Sue a minute ago. Let's go see what Sue's doing. Sue.
It's almost time for us. It's almost time for our safety update before we do the Doug Miller program tonight.
Well, hang on, guys. I'm online right now. I made homemade spaghetti and homemade pasta and homemade sauce today, and we're just cleaning it up now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. I can't find you on my list, but I can hear you. Oh, there
it still says safety Sue.
I see you.
Okay.
There you are.
There he is.
I am. I even got a few hairs cut this week. It's all messy. You know. What can we say? Safety.
Oh,
to be
wow.
honest with you guys, I didn't think I was coming on tonight. But let's talk about safety.
How did you turn that spaghetti on the lathe, Sue?
Hey, you know, it was difficult. I kept getting it all messed up. Had to keep cleaning that lathe.
Oh.
Oh my God.
It all came out stringy, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Little flat linguinis just came out stringy. It was awful. Semolina flour all over the place.
Oh, goodness.
Thought about you guys, though.
No, you didn't.
No.
Actually, I did think about you guys. Because I
Did you
missed it
save us
last
some
week.
leftovers?
Oh, there's
we
plenty
believe
here.
you.
So come on down. Thanks, Bob. So come on down.
I missed
Have-
my invite.
What's he miss?
I say I missed my invite to dinner.
That's right. That's right. You know, I forgot to invite you guys, but you know, we were
But
swimming.
we're all one big family. We don't need an invite. Just show up.
Thanks, Brenda. You're right. No one needs an invite. Just show up. And if the house is a mess, I'll give you a dust mop. What can I say?
Oh, there you go.
That's what I do.
There you go.
Goodness.
So, safety. Did anybody get hurt this week?
No.
That's good. So,
What did? Why is Scott laughing? Scott. His name is Scott Ouchhampton this week.
oh, really? Scott,
Why is that, Scott?
Because I'm having surgery tomorrow.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. Big
Okay.
surgery is coming up tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock.
Are you
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah, they gotta fix a couple vertebrae in my neck. So this will be my last meeting for probably 2-3 weeks. You guys won't see me.
Okay.
So
Well,
All right.
we'll all be thinking and praying for you, Scott.
Absolutely.
Check in with somebody. Let us all know how it went.
What's going on? Yeah.
yeah, I've been
Yeah.
going back and forth with Dane. He's pretty much up on everything. So he'll keep you
Okay.
guys letting you know what's going on.
Okay.
All right then.
So before we start lathing, we're going to be making sure we do a few things. We're going to make sure that everything is clean. There's no sawdust anywhere in your chucks or in your headstock or tailstock. You're going to make sure that after you mount the item that you're going to turn, and you set your tool holder, make sure that it's tightened so that your tool doesn't go down and maybe hit you in the face. Make sure that when you turn on that machine, you stand to the side, turn it on slowly. A lot of machines don't go to 0. So get it as low as you can go and then turn it up slowly. Make sure that the item is fixed on that lathe and it's not going to blow out a window somewhere. Then have fun, but make sure that your tailstock is tightened if it needs to be, and make sure you have all your safety gear on. So take care, you guys. Be safe, and I'll see you next week, hopefully. And take care, and maybe I'll be able to turn this week. I don't know. We'll see. Take care, guys.
Thank you, Sue.
Thank you, Sue.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, Doug, are you ready for the
Oh, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Eddie, are we ready to go to the I didn't mean to do that. Eddie, are we ready to go to the demo?
Oh, I think we are. I think we are.
Fix this.
Hey,
All
talk,
right.
talk a little
Break
more
it all
about
in
your smock there. Where did you get it?
There we go.
Doug.
I'll
Hey,
have
Doug,
to
talk
think
about your smock.
I'll have to think about it. I can't remember the name of it right now. Maybe later I can go find the link and drop it in the chat for you. If not this week, I'll get it in next week. Cade's in. Cade might remember, but I kind of doubt it too, because I ordered his and sent it to him. But anyway, it's a chef's jacket, lightweight cotton, kind of a polished cotton finish. It works tremendously. I've been using it heavy for the last 2 weeks and off and on before that for 2 or 3 weeks. So anyway, I love it. It buttons down this side. It does have the one front pocket, no back pocket, no other pockets at all. This pocket's going to get sewn up. So that's that.
Does it button on both sides? Mine will button right or left.
No, mine only buttons on the one side.
Okay.
But it was only $15 maybe. It wasn't much. Wasn't much.
I think mine was 5 something.
Yeah.
You need to add patches to it. It looks kind of plain like that.
I agree. It's going to get some embroidery done. I'm taking it to my mother this weekend. She's going to embroider it for me. Let's get on with it. This is, well, not this. This is the view that you are used to from me when I do a demo, coming down on my lathe. I've got my wall clock here that I just completed. I've put cameras in the shop and a computer so that I can do the YouTube stuff, the YouTube live. So there's top, there's zoomed in. Here's the end view that I was just talking to you on. But I can also come up close. But then I've got another camera. I've talked about it. Let me go back over here. I've talked about my bowl lathe a couple of times, but I've never shown it because I just didn't really have a way to show it. Dana and I were talking here a few weeks back, and to use it, to show it being used, we just thought might be fun, something a little different. This is strictly a bowl lathe. Sue was just talking about having your tailstock clean, your live center straight and inserted well. Not so on this particular lathe. What you see there is my wood, and what little bit of, well, there's really not a bed. There's a place for my tool rest. I'm going to switch a couple of things around. I've still got to move things manually so I can see what I'm doing all the time. There we go. Bring my mouse over here with me. Okay, you guys can see what I'm doing, I think, and I can see what I'm doing. So this is where we are. When we get to the time, if you need a closer view, I can give you a little closer view. And all that's done through the magic of software. But anyway, this is a shop-made lathe. The man who his grandson made it for him. And he didn't have it too awful long, and he died. He was an industrial arts teacher, taught art as well. And unfortunately, there just before his death, he did not even remember that he was an artist, or that he turned. He didn't know what this machine was shortly before he died. His sister and brother-in-law were clearing out his shop. I had gone over to help them put some prices on some things, including a barn. It's about a 30 by 40 barn, 3 levels, and every bit of that was cram-packed, jammed up with wood blanks and logs that he had collected over the years. And I helped them get an idea on how to price that wood out. Seems like they ended up selling it by the pickup truck load. And it had everything: walnut, cherry, oak, golly, anything that grew in the western part of the state of Kentucky. Lots of maple. He even would take a truck and fill it up when he went on vacation. So anyway, they got rid of 90% of the stuff, and they called me up one day and said, "Hey, we still got this lathe. If you we really want you to have it." And I said, "Well, there's only one issue. I am broke, and I just can't afford it." They said, "We want to make you an offer you can't refuse." I said, "Well, I just told you I'm broke, so unless you're going to give it to me." They said, "Well, we're not going to give it to you, but how about $50? So I went and got it, paid them $50 for it. This thing is, this lathe is about, I have to guess, it's about between 600 and 700 pounds. It's a 1-horse, 220 motor. It is Reeves drive, and it runs a belt about that wide. It's huge, a big leather belt. At slow speeds, it's indexed, the speed control thing is indexed from 0 to 10. Anything below 4, and it rattles like, it just rattles bad, like an old Singer sewing machine. At 4, it quietens down, and I've got this balanced enough where turning it at 4 is fine. So that's where we're at. I started it at 1, and was dreading having to start there, but I don't have to. Anyway, this is a big piece of walnut. It's held on to the lathe with a faceplate. I've got a small faceplate. Oh, that's the other thing I wanted to tell you. The spindle is a 1'8". Why in the world they built this big lathe with a 1'8" spindle? I do not know, but they did. So I've got a small faceplate, but that is then screwed to about a 6-inch piece of 3/4 inch ply with some long wood screws going into it. Not too long, because this wood is not real thick in this area right here, and I wanted to have enough. I'm going to go, and Brenda, if you will tell me when we're getting close to the hour, I'll just stop there. So we may or may not finish tonight. Taking my ring off, got my face shield on, and I think we're going to be okay. Let's get to turning on this, and normal kind of things. If there's some immediate questions, feel free to ask. And if I don't hear it right away, Brenda, you hang on to it and relay that to me when I can hear.
Okay. Thanks, Doug.
Yep. Takes just a minute for it to speed up. Just double check, make sure we're tight on the tool rest. Just kind of taking my time as we get started here. I don't want to break it off of those screws, but like any rough piece, it's going to take just a minute to get things worked down. And it doesn't take long until we have to make some adjustments to the tool rest. Not everything is done in the most convenient way on this particular lathe, but that's the way it is when somebody else builds it. It's not to my specs, but to theirs. That's still pretty far away. See if what we can do about getting it a little closer. There we go. That's much better. Found myself about 1.25 inches away. I think one of the reasons it takes so long to spin up to speed is because that belt is probably pretty old. Probably could use replacing, but I dread the day I actually have to replace it because I'm guessing it's going to be very expensive. There we go. Some of you may have heard of a VB36 lathe. Same idea, it's just a bowl lathe, an open-ended bowl lathe. Or maybe you heard of a Union Graduate. Both of those can be either open-ended like this one is, or they can have beds attached as well. I'm overpowering it just a touch. This lathe in its current configuration will turn a 24-inch blank, which is a good bit bigger than what my normal lathe will do. I sped it up and it was just a touch too much. I'm up to about 475 at this point. There we go. This lathe, as big and heavy as it is, will still vibrate and get out of balance a little bit. There we go. But it's just a load of fun to use. Like I said, my Nova will typically, well, the way it's made, it's only capable of 16 inches. I've got a mini lathe, a Nova, that will do 8 inches, and I got my 1624 that'll do 16. Then I've got this one that is 24, and I don't max it out very much. 24 is a big chunk of wood, but it does get out of balance every once in a while if I go too fast, especially on a rough piece like this one is. This wood is dry. This walnut is dry. I've had it. Well, I brought it here with me, and I've been here in this house just a little over 9 years. So it's been around a little while. I'm going diagonally across this blank as well.
One of the features this lathe did come with is a big brake bar for the foot, but the switch was bad when I got it, and so immediately I changed the switch and I got the wrong kind of switch. So one of these days I'll go back and get the magnetic switch and I can hook that brake bar back up. It's really not a brake bar, it's a disconnect bar. Okay, we're getting there, and I'm coming this way, starting, coming across the corner here, working my way up. That way I can kind of get the shape of everything all in my head. And if I want to make some adjustments of some kind, I can. Right now I'm going to switch tools. I was using Doug Thompson tool. I'm going to go to a Sorby tool. And while I'm here, move my tool rest again. Well, there we go. One of these days I want to change that too. That's much better. Okay.
So Doug, what size tool are you using?
It's a 1/2-inch bowl gouge. I'm a little strange in doing that. Most people like to start off with a little bit larger bowl gouge than I do. I was just getting started, and there was one of the famous guys at that point. He died, and he made massive turnings. Well, his wife didn't want to see his work or his galleries shut down, and so she took up the art. And she did all her turning with a 1/4-inch gouge, start to finish, on massive pieces. We're talking stuff 6, 7, 8 feet in diameter.
I bet that took some time to do, huh?
I imagine it did. But like I said, she did it with 1/4-inch, and at the time I was already using a 1/2-inch quite often. And so I've just stuck with it. I've got a 5/8. I just don't use it very often. Doesn't feel as comfortable in my hand. But anyway, we're getting close to getting a little bit of shape here. Just still roughing this bottom a bit.
Oh, that's an important point. Always use the tool you're most comfortable with, not because you saw somebody else doing it.
Right, right.
Especially in a demo.
There are some demo guys out there that they do some stuff that just amazes me, but I wouldn't even attempt some of that stuff they do. I'm just not comfortable with it. First, I think I've shared the story first time I saw Jimmy Cruise before the demo started. In fact, excuse me, before the meeting started, it was for a club. Before it started, he was getting a piece of 2x4 on the lathe. He got it pretty well centered, and he turned the lathe on about, I don't know, 1/4 speed or so. And it was whirling and making a big bunch of racket.
and some guys rushed up, sat in the very front row, and started talking about, I'm not scared, I'll sit anywhere. And Jimmy looked at him and said, are you sure you want to sit there? Said, oh yeah, we're gonna sit right here. Well, after he was comfortable with how he was mounted in the lathe with that 2x4, he turned the speed up. Those guys got up and moved real quick. Real quick.
Jimmy likes to turn fast.
Yes.
Yeah,
well,
that was one of his wing bowls he demonstrates. I witnessed that firsthand. I was a videographer for my club, and he did the first demo for our club in 2007, and he did that. And man, the thing sounded like an airplane propeller, and the blade was about ready to take off. It was throwing off so much air.
Absolutely.
Crazy.
Hey, Doug.
Hey, Doug, your video's locked
You're
up.
froze up.
Yeah, you're frozen.
Well, we can fix that, I think.
Okay.
I'm not sure why it does that, but
Back to the other camera, and then
there
back.
we go.
Okay. Yep.
Good now.
Thank you, sir.
I'm not sure. It's done that a couple of times. This is a brand new camera, but I do have an extension on it, so that might be part of it.
It's probably full of sawdust.
All right, we're getting much closer. Getting some pretty grain showing up. A little tear out in that section, but that's the end grain going into end grain. Same thing right there. All right, just keep going. Oh, I was going to say, Jimmy, after he did his little trials there at about quarter speed, and he asked those guys if they were sure that's where they're going to sit, he had, of course, turned the lathe off to talk to them. And when he turned it back on, he turned it on at full speed. And that was on the big one-way that the club owned at the time. So it revved up pretty good. All right. Give me just half a moment. I'm going to sharpen both of these
guys. A lot. He's a friend of mine. I've taken personal classes with him and stuff. And he only turns fast in the demos, believe it or not. In his own shop, he doesn't do that. And I asked him why, and he said because he wants to make as many projects as he can during the club demos.
Right.
He's teaching you. He doesn't want you to be turning that fast. So he does, and for his personal projects that he makes on his own, he doesn't turn that fast either.
Right.
It's just for, the demos he does. That's the only time he actually turns that fast.
He does it to show off. No, he has. I've heard him make the comment, I turn this fast in demos, but I don't turn this fast at turning personally, and I don't expect you to. And yet there's always somebody that goes home, and that's the first thing they do is crank their lathe all the way up. All right. I sharpen with a 180 grit CBN wheel, just in case somebody's curious. All right, let's go at it again with this Sorby just a little bit longer, especially now that I've sharpened up. So it cuts better too. Let's see. This lathe does not have a brake on it, so sometimes if you got a heavy piece of wood, it takes forever for it to wind down. All right. Hit something already and made dulled my tool. All right. Take a peek, just see if we can see whatever it was. And it may not be anything. It may be me. That's that bad grain. Let's look at that one little patch. It's doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Well, it's the green button, right? Thought these dividers were already set, but I look up and there's the set of jaws I want to use. Oh. And they don't want to slide. What in the world? There they go. All right. Myself a place where I can have some idea where I'm going. Form that tenon. We'll come out a little further so I can get a nice face for the face of the jaws to go up against. Good and flat. ever so slight dovetail on that tenon that we're going to use. This one's going to go away. I'm going to go ahead and make the bottom of this tenon pretty nice. I think I'm going to use this tenon as part of my design. Become part of the foot. All right. All right, let's move this just a little. That off so I can turn the tool rest again so I can get out here on the very edge. I got to move the entire thing. Still got a little bark. I got a couple of flats where the piece was cut still. Wood's not coming loose from wood plate back here, but the wood plate's coming ever so slightly loose from the it's not very much. We still good?
Looks like we're doing fine.
Okay, okay.
It's 8:40, Doug.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Just working on getting this edge round. Just the last half inch, 3/4 of an inch, something like that. Little bit of a lump right there as it transitioned, but that doesn't look too shabby. Needs a whole lot of sanding. Got a little bit of a void right there. I'm not concerned about that. I think I'll just leave it, which means I'll probably leave a little bit thicker wall. I need to go down just a little more. I would like to get rid of that. So as I get rid of that flat spot, actually 2 flat spots, we'll eliminate a little bit more of that. Well, in fact, let's just keep going. We've got just a few more minutes. Where are we? Yeah, flats are gone all the way around. The only thing I've got a bit of a knot right there that will probably stay in. In fact, I'll put some glue in it just to make sure. A little bit of bark inclusion there. That was the center of that crotch. My foot is ready. All I need to do is smooth out. I've got 2 transitions, one there and one there. I need to smooth those out fairly quickly here. That won't take just a second. Just light cuts, blending from one part of the curve into the next, and then moving on up. And I'm watching the horizon on the far side. First time I heard somebody say that, I thought, you're going to kill yourself. But it's true. You watch the horizon, you get your cut started, you know where you're going basically. And then you just watch the horizon and you can see exactly what it is that you need to do. A little bit of scraping to clean up some of my tool marks. And some of the tear out for that matter. That'll slow down or it'll speed up my sanding. It'll take some of the time out of my sanding, which is good. All right, we got a little lump right at the top still. Get my handle down, I'm a little high. There we go. When you get that going just right, get some pretty nice fine gossamer type shavings. And you know you're cutting down your sanding then. You still have to sand. There's still a good bit of sanding here. Some ingrain checking there. The knot has to be glued in yet. But I'll put sanding sealer on here. I'll put some CA into these cracks and probably we'll use some of this these shavings. I'll put the glue in, rub them in, pack them in. That's actually a pith right there. That's one of the branches. Trying to see where the other one is. That's part of it right there, I guess. There's 3 knots right there. Those all get glued in. All these cracks will get filled with some sawdust and CA. Parfex 3408. I'm not a salesman. I just use the stuff. I had to buy it just like everybody else. So that's what that is. And I can remember doing some things that I didn't know any better when I was first starting. And people would say, oh, you're outside, you're outside the norm. You're well, I forget what the term they use now, but it worked. For instance, turning a bowl between centers, start to finish. I've done it. Some of you all have as well. It can be done. It's not that difficult. Turning without a tailstock. You see the back end just got done. I'll put this chuck on it and or put the chuck on the lathe. We'll put this bowl on that chuck and get the inside turned out. So you can see it can be done. It is done. It's done fairly often. And right here's why I don't want this pocket open. I'm going to sew that pocket up. It's full. It was empty. I blew it out yesterday. So anyhow.
Turn the shirt upside down when you get done with it.
No, I'll use my air hose. Chips will go everywhere. I'll close my eyes when I do it too. But anyway,
get the stitches out of the bottom of it.
That's the other thought. No, I'll put stitches in the top. Anyway, I'll get this bottom glued up, then sand. I'll do a final pass. We'll sand it up to 320. I'll use my abrasive paste and wax. We'll get this thing turned around and do the inside, and I'll have it ready to show you next week. How's that?
All right. Thanks.
Any other thoughts or questions?
Anybody got any questions? Got to be a question.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
All right.
Are we completely smooth on the outside? And I mean, I see some color, some grain. The top has got a grain change at the top. Is that dead smooth?
This is bark. This is sapwood. And then this is hardwood. Okay. So yeah, there are color changes there. That the bark will stay. That much bark. I'm not going to take it down any further to get rid of it. But I will put some glue on it just to stabilize it and make sure it doesn't fall out. These knots that are here, I don't think you guys can see those knots. Yeah, you can see them.
Looks like a monkey face.
Yeah, sort of, kind of. I don't know. I want some of those drugs too. I'll put 3408 in those knots just to stabilize them. This sapwood will stay relatively light. It won't stay as white as it is. You guys are seeing an awful lot of red. That's because I've got to, let me turn that incandescent light off, and that's a little better. I've got to still do some color adjustment on this particular camera. But then the dark, when I put finish on this dark heartwood, that'll get even darker, be that rich walnut color that we love so much. So, but as far as turning, I'm through turning. It will get sanded. I say that. I will do a final smoothing cut after I've put all the glue on it and all that stuff. It'll be sanding sealer, glue, finishing cut, abrasive paste. No, I'll sand it and then abrasive paste, then wax. And that's what'll go on this bowl. And then I'll turn it around and do the inside.
Hey, Doug, I missed the European conversation in the background.
The European conversation.
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, we don't have our Great Britain guys with us tonight. A couple of them thought they might try, but it's, we start at midnight for those guys. And it's just kind of late for most of them. Martin hangs in with us. Paul hangs in with us some nights. But most of those other guys who are usually on my lives, they're in Sleepyville right now, most of them.
That's okay, Doug. I'm here to supervise.
All right, Ruby's here. Excellent. Glad you're here, Ruby. Ruby is, we call her Queen Ruby. She is a master. She does an excellent job. Appreciate you. Anyway, any other questions or thoughts?
Yep. Thanks, Doug.
You're so welcome. Just
Thanks,
something
Doug.
different. Something different we don't see very often, a big bowl lathe being used.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that bowl lathe looks very difficult to use.
It's really not. It's really not any different from any other lathe, except I don't have a tailstock. I have to start either on a
just adjusting the tool rest was.
Well, yes, this one, the lockdown for the tool rest or for the banjo it's difficult. I don't know why it's so hard, but it is.
Couldn't that handle, Doug, couldn't that handle be put on the top?
I would have to look at it. It's got a pin running through the shaft that catches on the
in there
in the trough that's on the bed. The so-called bed. And so I don't know. It might. I'll have to look at it, and that might make it a little easier. And making that pin something larger, putting something over it so that it'd be larger would help as well. I've thought of that.
Way of the handle might get in the way of the wood too, though, on the top.
It's possible.
Depending on which way it locks.
I think it's out of the way. It's in the corner more, right?
Well, right now, yes. Right now, I've got it right on the corner. A lot of times, if it's a deeper bowl, it has my banjo. The post for my tool rest has to be more center. This one is shallow enough, and my tool rest is long enough that I could pretty well do it all from the side.
Nice job.
Yeah. It's just, Brenda, it's just different. To go back to your thought, it's just different. That's all. Yeah. It's not hugely different, just enough to sometimes make you a little bit crazy. I wanted to show you all while I was here as well. It's taped in, of course. There it is. This is my vacuum chuck. This hooks on to a vacuum cleaner, a shop vac. This vacuum has to stick into that coupling right there. Then I turned a bowl and then screwed a piece of plywood to make it a little bigger. It's got some foam on top so that it sticks. But of course, that hole is not anywhere near the size of that, which is the end of a shop vac hose. So what do? I turned an adapter. I was started to look for one, and I thought, guys, I'm a wood turner. Why do I need that? So I turned one. One end fits into the chuck. One end fits into my hose. The tape is there because I lost my little pin that I made to hold the two together. It's a friction fit, but I made a pin. I lost the pin and my hose kept falling out. So I put a piece of painter's tape on it, and it works tremendously well. I will have no issues once I turn the inside of this bowl. I'll have no issues putting it on here to return the bottom and do any corrections I need to make on here. So anyway, when we need to make adapters, I make them, turn them. It works just fine. Just fine.
Doug, is there a bearing in that vacuum chuck that allows it to spin free?
Yes, sir. I just set it down. What'd I do with it? Oh, here it is. Still on my hose. Yes, this was when I got this, there were a number of lathes on the market that had solid spindles. This lathe has a solid spindle. It's a solid 1 inch. And so this was made by a company. So it has a bearing in it, and it works tremendously well. Of course, this is the part that's on the spindle. This, where the hose goes, it stays relatively still, and your spindle just turns.
Yeah, I wondered how that would work too myself.
Yeah, it does a wonderful job. And I don't need a vacuum pump for that one. I need a shop vac, which means I have to have hearing protection on and all that fun stuff. Which we probably ought to all wear all the time anyway, right?
That's right. But it was a great demo, Doug. Great demo.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And like I said, it's just something different that we don't see every day. Next time I'll be back on my Nova 16-inch and we'll do something fun there. But this will be about a 13-inch bowl when we get done with it, if it survives. I think it will, but who knows till the end. All right.
That was good. That was really nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
all.
Doug. So do we have any more gallery?
Good demo, Doug.
Thank you.
I think Bob Moffat said he had something.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Top of the list.
Am I spotlighted?
I'm getting you there.
Okay.
There you are.
There. I made a couple of Jerry Meisner's
birdhouse. I made a run of those this week. And
oh, that's cute.
that's oak dyed red, and this is maple. That's maple.
Beautiful.
Little hummingbird boxes.
And I made this one, which is maple, and then I painted the top with
higher. Great.
Textured the top and painted it with iridescent paint. There we go. And painted it with the iridescent paints. And put some little leaves on the side.
Beautiful.
And then this
Very
one,
nice.
a friend of mine gave me a scrap of Banksia pod. So made this one and made a roof. That was as big as I could get the Banksia pod. But so I'm gonna give it back to him to give to his girlfriend.
Pretty.
But
very nice.
You painted them by hand?
I used wood burned them.
Okay. Very nice.
Don't have to be as coordinated to wood burn as you do to paint.
Oh goodness. Have we got any more gallery? I don't have anybody else on the list, I don't believe. Unless I've missed anybody.
Ought to be somebody.
Gotta be somebody.
You would think.
I bet Doug got something to show.
Somebody's got to have something to show. Somebody had to turn this week.
They're out there. Come on.
Where's Wuakeene? Where's he?
He's always late.
Hey, Brenda.
Yeah.
Dave George up in Minnesota. I have a simple bowl to show.
Okay.
I don't know if you can find me. I don't see myself on here at all. So I'm on a different
Dave
computer.
George?
Yeah. Yep. Not on here, huh?
You got to be there.
You got to be on there.
Yeah, he's on there.
I bet Jim the Toolman Duxbury has something else.
No, I showed.
Well, I'll just kind of keep chatting away here until you find me. But
yeah, keep talking.
Yeah, well, it's like I say, I'm on a different computer. I don't even see myself up here, but I'm on.
Yeah. Are you listed under something else?
No, Dave George.
Huh. Does anybody else see him?
I can see him. He's got a black shirt on.
Yep, that's right. I do.
Maybe it's Dave.
Dave.
Maybe it's Dave. I don't know.
If you look at participants, Dave is on here. No last name.
Well, I thought I had it up to where it was Dave George. So, but hey, he originally was Dave. Yeah, but.
Is he?
I got you now. I have you, but I can't make you come up on full screen, Dave.
Well, I'm unmuted and my video is on. So I don't know what's going on. If I type it into
I'm not in as a
co-host
right now.
Type it into.
You.
Oh,
there you go.
Hey,
who's that movie star? Well, anyway,
he does look like Dave, doesn't he?
My wife and I, Trish, we're doing a lot more traveling here with a fifth wheel, so we haven't been turning too much. But finally got back home, and I just wanted to get back on the lathe and just turn something simple. So I ended up with a very simple bowl. It's out of maple, locally cut down by my neighbor. But anyway, just show that, and all I have it on it now is actually it doesn't show very well, but there's a lot of reddish grain in it. It's kind of pretty actually, and you got the pith on both sides of it, and it didn't crack to where it's not usable, so it's okay. And all I have is sanding sealer on it right now, and so I haven't. I just actually took the tenon off tonight. But anyway, just the other part of it is that my wife ordered a laser engraver, and so she's been working on that, and that's beyond my pay grade. But so she ended up working on how to put some signatures on the bottom and things like that. So we're actually expanding out to where we're trying to get a little more laser engraving. And do a little work on some cutting boards and all that, or you could actually put some decorations on that too. So that's kind of what we've been.
Is that a look?
Very nice.
The pith there, did it look like it had a little bit of red in it?
It does. Actually, it doesn't show up in the video here, but there's quite a bit of little red streaks through it. And right here, you get the bluish type things, but
yeah, right there,
bark inclusion. But right through here, there's a lot more reddish green in it. And I'll probably finish it with a lacquer, and hopefully the red will kind of pop out.
There you go. Very nice.
Well, that's all I've been doing. I'm just trying to get back on the lathe, and since we've been on the road a lot, just want to get back on the lathe because I miss it. Number one, and number two is that you lose your not your technique so much, but just the fine tuning of your touches and all that. And so then I got to go back and try to figure out how come I'm leaving so many tool marks, and go back and basically just relearn it.
All right.
Anyway, appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you. Good job. All right. Looks like we have Gary Hoffman. Let's see. Gary. There he is.
Those Gary.
I think found him. Whoops. How long? Lost him. Hold on. Names keep moving.
I'm here.
Gary. I found you a couple times, but you kept jumping out of the way.
I got him. Well, said I did.
All right, talk to us. There he is again.
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah, you got me.
There you go.
Anyway, I've done a little pen turning, and about a month ago, I sent Jim Selby 30 pens I turned for the Navy, and I'm just gonna like to say I'm encouraging everybody to do that if they can. They do really appreciate it, and I do it 2 or 3 times a year. But what I've done recently, I've done it's a bolt action pen, and this one is it's olive wood from Bethlehem.
Ooh, olive oil, olive.
Came out pretty nice. And then I got another one I did. It's black and white ebony.
That's pretty.
Good. And then I did one that was kind of weird. It's the first time I've ever turned this stuff. It's called Kentucky Coffee, and it's really dusty when you turn it. I don't know if anybody else has ever done that before. Let me see if I can.
Yes, I've turned coffee before. Yeah, I make coffee scoops out of coffee wood.
It's just a dark brown, but it's got some tones of gold in there. But they're pretty nice. But that's about all I've done. So I've been turning some mushrooms and a few gonks, and I've got them out for sale right now. Nothing's happening yet, but we're still waiting to see. So that's about it.
Thank you, Gary. Beautiful job.
Thank you.
Let's go to Chris Nealon. Chris. Oh, there he is right there. How about that? Oh, yeah. I can't hear you, Chris. You're on. I can't hear you.
Not showing is muted, but he doesn't have the right mic selected.
Right. Nope, still can't hear you. Your mouth is moving and nothing's coming out.
Now you're muted. Now you're muted, Chris.
How about now?
We're talking now. Nope.
Nope. You're not muted. You're unmuted, but we still can't hear you.
How about
okay, you can still show the bowl.
Ah, yes. Can hear you
now.
now.
You got,
yes.
I got 4 cameras and 3 mics, so. Ash.
Beautiful.
Knots in there that were filled with coffee and either epoxy or CA. I don't honestly remember. A little bit of color on the outside. Some sanding paste and
Nice color on the outside.
Yes.
So that's a gift to my son's almost fiance.
Pretty.
Very nice. Love it.
Really nice filigree gray at the bottom.
Oh, there you go. Yes.
We've been playing on this one tonight, which is not done, but down, 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 down. A piece of ornamental cherry, which has really beautiful grain.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Almost no tear out. And we get about 3 coats of the White Pond Poly water-based. And I'm starting to really like that. It doesn't yellow. It goes on clear and stays clear. So,
that's all animals in it.
I'm sorry?
Beautiful grain, but no animals.
That's right. No animals. Maybe on the backside. We don't know. We don't know.
You haven't looked hard enough, Brenda.
I ain't seeing no animals there.
I thought I saw a dolphin there a minute ago.
Oh.
At least a killer whale or a tortoise. We don't know.
All right. Good job. Thanks, Chris.
That's all we have tonight.
All right. Let's see if we can find Dan Smith.
Yeah, I'm right here. I'm waving.
I've got him. If I can get to it.
There we go.
There we go.
Well, I turned a couple hulls made out of black walnut. Did a little embellishing on this one.
Nice.
And this one's made for my hand, which is quite big. And then I made a smaller one for like everybody else's hands and did a little embellishment on that one.
Yes.
That's nice.
So.
Wow, real nice.
Got those done. I just got to sharpen them and put a cork on the end.
Wow.
And I just sprayed them with lacquer.
What
did you use for what did you use for the finials, Dan? The metal parts.
Oh, this right here is an inner bearing on this one off my little wheelbarrow wagon. I had to replace one. And this right here is, I bought a whole bunch of pipe fittings, and this is just some brass that I got from a garage sale. And I turned the end off it and cut it off and then just buffed it up a little bit.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, we can turn brass with our steel tools. It works great.
That's nice.
But it was hard to get all the numbers off because I didn't want to go that hard on it. So, but I got it.
Very nice.
Looks good.
Looks great.
All right, thanks. Let's see if we can find Heather.
There I am. Hi.
Heather.
There she is.
Hi, Heather.
Hey, long time no see.
Yeah.
So usually I've been bringing 4 or 5 pieces to try and catch you guys, but I keep missing. My brakes don't run on your brakes. So I brought 1 piece today. It's just a little box, very shallow.
Beautiful.
Not even 2 inches thick.
Oh, look at that.
Zebra wood.
Man.
Nice. Yeah.
Very nice.
Super.
Very nice.
It.
That is really nice. Really nice.
That's cool.
Is that the next video?
That one was out a couple weeks ago now.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it's got a Wenge top finial on it.
Very nice.
Whoops.
Wow. Don't break it.
I know.
Jeez. You better get
So
that in the
that's
mail
gonna
and
be
send it to me before you break it.
That's going to be a Christmas gift next week because we have Christmas in July.
Okay.
Wow.
I'm going
Good.
camping, and that's our Christmas in July gift.
All right.
There you
Well, that's
go.
good.
That's it.
Good that you get rid of it soon because you're going to break that thing.
I know. I'll wrap it up when I get home.
There you go.
Very nice, Heather.
Thank
Really
you.
nice.
Very nice. Thanks, Heather.
Very nice.
It's
Didn't you
great
make?
seeing you again.
Didn't you just make a magic wand?
What
Yeah,
was
I
that?
didn't bring that to work with me. I totally
Oh.
forgot to bring that one.
Yeah, that looked pretty cool.
That was my last video, and it was Wenge too. Or no, it was zebra wood.
Yeah, zebra wood.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I could use those lockers in my shop.
Pardon?
We could use those lockers in our shops.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I could
This
use
is
a
just our-
magic wand here.
Yeah. Oh, believe me, I could too. My glasses are fogging up on me here.
Goodness gracious.
It's a little bit crazy at work tonight.
Mm.
A little busy.
Well, enjoy your break.
Yeah, I will. I'm going to
All
enjoy
right.
next week even better. I won't be here.
Ooh, nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, but you'll still be around though that you can see us, right? Or we'll see you.
That's right. Yeah.
All right. Good, good,
I'll
good.
be in next week. I'm on vacation, but I'll be in the meeting.
Okay.
Very good.
Well, you'll be at home next week, right?
Oh no, I'm not home. We rent a cottage.
Oh,
there's,
wow.
There's 6 couples that rent a cottage.
Oh, fun.
Okay.
It's we have a lot of fun.
Yeah, with that many people, I would imagine you would.
Yeah.
All right.
We usually have a murder mystery night, but
Ooh, sounds
this
good.
year it's Christmas in July.
That'll be fun. That'll be
yes.
fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Let's see if we can find Bob Grinstead.
Bob
Okay.
Grinstead.
Hey guys, yeah. Got a couple of bowls here. I've got a pecan. Little pecan bowl had lots of wormholes in it. Had a lot of character. So I didn't really want to fill them. So I left all those in here. But it just makes an interesting bowl. It won't hold water, but it makes an interesting bowl.
Love it. It'll hold
Little,
the chips.
a little design on the side.
Beautiful.
That's that old Parfait stuff, you know. That's that good easy finish.
Beautiful.
And then I have another one. This one here is elm. Those are real pretty. Lots of color in them. There are always a lot of color to these bowls. But again, they make nice bowls and a lot of color to it. I did a little more texturing on the sides, a little different. But anyway, that's it. Just 2 bowls.
That looks like a good M&M's bowl.
Yeah, it'd be an awful big one. that one there is about 9 inches. The other one is about, I guess, about 10 and a half, 11.
That'd be a good ice cream bowl then.
It's like a nice potato chip bowl to me.
Yeah, there you go.
Bob. Thanks.
That's all I got.
All right, let's see.
Who's that?
That's
Oh,
next.
that's a pretty tree.
That's a pretty tree.
Thank you. That's what I did this evening while I was listening and watching, sort of.
Cool.
This is a piece of dogwood. It's been laying underneath my deck probably for a year or 2. It's quite hard. Surprisingly enough, the bark stayed on the bottom. It has no finish on it at all, and will not get any finish on it. My wife is a decorative painter, so her friends want them and they'll paint them. So
beautiful.
That's what I do with them.
Green in the middle of it looks like upside down hearts.
Yeah, it's kind of like this thing on one end, on the bottom end.
Yes.
There's the pith, which is way offset. At the other end of this thing, it actually had 2 piths. There's only one of them stayed in the piece. But yeah, that's the dark streak is actually literally the pith going up through there.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. And there's what's called a white walnut bowl. It is black walnut, believe it or not.
Really?
That's the only dark in it is in the very center of it.
That's great fun. Nice use of the sapwood on that. I've seen pieces like that. That's very cool.
Actually, you'll probably find out that it's what's called English walnut. English walnut has a very small dark area and a very large white area.
Now, the guy that got it for me is a retired forester. He says the walnut that stays white is a tree that grew out by itself, probably in a residential area, and I think it's come out of a residential area, It grew very fast, so it never really turned dark. So there's two more little ones. Now they're starting to turn dark. They almost look dirty to me, but yeah. They have
Is that pith? Is the pith yellow or is it just the camera?
That should be the sapwood.
That's the sapwood.
But is it yellow or is it white?
Yeah, it actually is sort of a yellow color.
Okay.
It's not usually when you get black walnut that has sapwood on it, it is very bright white. This is not. This is more of a yellow.
Okay.
But it looked like it did grow fast, large rings there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. That's pretty.
Ruby, we might not have that type of walnut over here that you were talking about.
Yes, they do have that walnut over here. It was brought over when the first settlers came over.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe it's in Canada. Maybe it's up north.
It's both through Canada and the States.
And yeah, we've got them here in Kentucky.
Yeah, we got them in Ohio.
Yeah, that's the main difference between the black walnut and the British walnut is how much white there is in the Cambrium.
Yeah. In the Central California, the Central Valley of California, a lot of the farmers are knocking down walnut trees and they graft hybrid walnuts onto black walnut bases. And quite often you'll see white all the way through. So.
Hey, I got a question before you leave. Those shoe covers you got.
Yeah, those spats.
Where did you get them? And what are they called?
That's a really good question. Where I got them, there's a lady down in Florida. I took a class from Rudy Lopez many years ago, and he had them on, and I'm like, wow, that's cool. You would have to email Rudy and ask him, and no, it was a local lady down there in Florida that got them.
Huh.
They made leather? Or?
No, they're like a vinyl.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the clean side, the other side. They're like a, they're not really a vinyl. They're almost like a duck material.
Canvas kind, maybe?
Yeah. I don't imagine they're waterproof, but it does wonders for keeping the crap out of your shoes.
Yeah.
When you have shorts on.
Sure.
It looks like a baby bib.
Right. That's what he said to me. He said, well, doesn't your mother or somebody cook? It's nothing more than a baby bib with pieces of Velcro on it. It actually has a piece of Velcro that'll stick fast to your shoelaces if you have shoes on.
Yeah, I like that. That looks good.
Yeah, we use them during iron work, and we put them over our shoes so the sparks when you're welding don't burn into your shoe.
Right.
Those are probably leather though, aren't they? The ones used in welding, those are probably leather.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are just like a duck
check
material.
some places they carry snow ski equipment. We used to wear those covering our ski boots to keep the snow from coming down into the boots.
Yeah, those are called gaiters.
Right.
Where do you get them?
Any place that sells ski equipment.
Okay. Stuart Betty used to wear those, and I asked him one time where he got them, but he never answered me. So I was just wondering.
I just got a set of those off the Amazon.
Amazon, there you go.
What were they called on Amazon?
I have no idea.
I'm posting a link, y'all.
I follow.
You can get anything you want on Amazon.
Well, I'll tell you,
sure.
They'll come in handy if you're diabetic, because if you get a sliver of wood in your foot and it infects, you can lose your foot.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Doesn't look exactly the same though, Matt.
No, you're right. It doesn't. It doesn't.
The gaiters come up much higher on your leg.
Okay.
Well, we'll have to find those. So I make some out of t-shirt material like that, but I think this harder material would be better.
Hey,
Ruby's right that they do. Ruby's right. There is a full shoe gaiter that covers, but it might be bigger than the ones that he has. It might be still in called a Gator, Gator.
Yeah. We'll have to look.
I would get mine if I knew where I put them.
You might find spat.
They also have welding spats. So yeah. I'm going to send y'all a link to that too.
Okay. Does anybody else have any gallery to share with us tonight? Anybody?
Nobody? Yeah, Brenda, I picked up a few things I'll show.
All right.
You see me?
I know the name.
You find me?
Voice. I know the
find
voice.
Me somewhere in there?
Terry's iPad, right?
I'm the shiny guy.
There he is.
We looked a little slow, so I just went in and walked around the house to see what I would find in there. And these are all projects that I did demos on, and different ones at different times. This is just a little box. I think I probably showed some of them before. It's just a little box, a piece of wood that I picked up at the club raffle or something. Somebody had already laminated together. It's walnut and probably maple, and got a pretty tight fitting top.
Yeah.
And the top is a spin top. Yeah, it's a spin top. But actually, I made quite a few of these. Well, when I demoed them, I had to make several of them to make sure I had some idea what I was talking about. I didn't want to hurt people with stuff flying around, you know.
Come on.
The next demo that I did.
That takes all the excitement out of it.
Base.
Oh, that's cool.
It was just an offset base. It's just a regular chalice thing with 2 offsets in it, 3 actually. And these are real easy to make and a lot of fun. And I did that in the demo. And then, say what?
I said that was beautiful.
Oh, yeah, they came out pretty nice. I say they were a lot of fun to do in the demonstration. It's a pretty easy little project, which is the way I do it.
What kind of wood is that?
The shield. It's walnut. No, it's not. It's mesquite. We don't have any walnut.
Okay.
Walnut's my old town. That walnut's from Memphis. But this is another one that I made. This is just a little box.
Ooh,
and this one is a toothpick holder.
Oh,
it's
cool.
A little piston box toothpick holder. It's got a little spigot on it. Get the wine out of there. Get some whiskey out of there.
Cute.
And this one is pretty much the same thing, only this one's just a box. And I made a little whiskey barrel for it and a little valve on it so you can get your whiskey out. It leaked and it ran all over the bottom. But it's a threaded box.
Oh, cool.
So
I think you ought to do a demo on threading.
Yeah.
There you go.
I don't have the facilities to do a demo, and I thought maybe we could do one, and my computer is not that great. And then after the trouble Wuakeene had a couple of weeks ago, I thought maybe we wouldn't try it unless we could maybe video it and edit it and do it as a screen share. But my Wi-Fi is worthless. It used to be pretty good, but they built a 5G tower right dead in line from the Wi-Fi tower to my house. I mean, it's right in the way, and it interferes with everything. It interferes with my television, everything. It wrecks everything in the house. One time, sometimes on the meeting, I'll have to reset it 3 or 4 times to get through the meeting. Sometimes it works. But those are just a few projects I thought I'd bring up. I think I've showed you about everything else I've done. Of course, I could show you 1,000, but.
Do we have any new members here tonight? Anybody that's their first time on the meeting? Care to just pop up and say hi? Anybody?
Well, this would be my first time here.
Okay, who are you? Oh, Ruby, I see.
Ruby Claire, yes.
Ruby.
Yes. All right, there we go.
There you go.
Hi, Ruby.
I know that voice anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that did monotone.
What is all that stuff behind you? Look at that.
Yeah, lots of nice stuff.
Yeah. Let's say you ain't got nothing to share.
That was one of my latest pieces.
Oh man.
My.
How nice is that? Very nice.
Pipe.
Wow.
Mercy.
Beautiful. That is gorgeous.
Yes, it is. Wow.
It was interesting to do.
I bet.
Is it plywood, Ruby?
Pardon?
Is it plywood? It looked like it was layers. Is the center part plywood?
No, it was sycamore, the entire thing.
Oh.
Okay. Gorgeous. You got some beautiful work back there.
Yeah, the hardest part was taking the shield and attaching that to the lathe so that it could be turned.
I bet.
Okay.
Huh.
I bet that's flopping around out there, isn't it?
Wow. Well, thanks for sharing with us tonight, Ruby. Welcome aboard.
Nice meeting you, Ruby. Come on
Good to have you.
Your
Nice
new
meeting you.
membership package is in the mail, okay?
Well, the only way I even knew about the group was from a posting Doug made.
Yeah.
Could you show us that black urn behind you? It looks like it's an open segmented piece.
Oh.
That looks spiraled.
Probably a piercing.
Yeah,
Isn't
it does. Spiral.
No, it's a spiral. Yeah.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Ruby's quite the artist. She paints
Yes,
too.
she is.
Yes.
Very
Some
nice.
of my favorites of your pieces, Ruby, are the ones you painted.
Wow.
Boy, look at those spirals.
Oh,
Those are nice.
wow.
I made the silver one and the collar, or out of pewter, silver pewter, in wood first, and then Stuart Mortimer taught me how to cast them.
Wow.
Oh, wonderful.
Are you doing the spirals by hand, or are you using a router, or
Nope, by hand.
by hand? Oh, that's time consuming.
Yeah.
What is that octopus looking piece there on the table behind you? No, on the other side. Nope, the other side. In front of the little tree. Kind of laying down.
Run a little tree looking down.
Talking about the horse or the off-center pieces?
Yeah, there you go.
Yes. What is that? Oh, a jellyfish.
A jellyfish.
Goodness.
The jellyfish.
Look at that.
That's great.
Wow.
That's great. I love it.
Is that one piece of wood?
Is that what?
Is that one piece of wood?
Yes, it is.
Oh
my goodness.
Oh my.
I won't ask how.
Yeah. Wow. She's going to show us
That is
how
gorgeous.
someday.
She might have to do a demo.
That's a good demo.
Yes. Oh my.
What's the one with wings there? Is that a wing piece right by your hand?
This one?
Yeah, that one, or the one down below it above your squid there? Yeah, that one.
Right. Both of these are, you take a piece of green wood and it's called fan carving. I learned it from Sally Nye in Upper Michigan.
Pretty.
And, it's just the way you slice a block of wood and then open it up to form all the feathers on the bird.
Man, that's
Oh
nice.
my, that's beautiful.
Yeah, what are you slicing it with?
It's just like a very sharp knife, very
Really?
thin.
How long have you been turning, Ruby?
Pardon?
How long have you been turning?
Since the late
Forever.
70s, early 80s.
Nice.
So just a couple of years.
Just
yeah,
a couple.
I guess.
Yeah.
Ruby was one of
I started out learning from Alan Batty.
Yeah.
In fact,
Ruby, what's the big?
one of the first things he taught me how to make was his secret ball and the stand to go with it. And somewhere on here, you push one of these and it opens up.
Oh,
it locks inside.
Yeah.
And then the top comes off.
Oh my
goodness. My goodness.
Already.
Wow.
They used to make these back in the 1600s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
That was Stuart Beatty that showed you that?
Correct. Or not Stuart, Allen. Stuart's father.
Oh.
Yeah. It was Alan Batty that I learned from, not Stuart.
Wow. What kind of wood is that one then?
Actually, that's imitation ivory.
That's what I thought it looked like, ivory.
Yeah. At the time I made it, if you were in possession of ivory, you'd end up in jail.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
So.
Pretty.
Love your work.
Thank you.
That's beautiful. See a lot more of you.
Ruby, what's the large dark piece up on top of the shelf behind you that we can just see part of? It looks like it's pierced or something. It looks like a large bowl.
This is something I've been experimenting with, where you take like a piece of pine and you turn the bowl and then take it outside and take a torch and you burn this area. Put it back on the lathe so you can do these two lines to create your border. And then just with a Dremel or Fordham or something with round bits of different sizes, you just press it in and create the different holes.
Nice.
Well, that's kind of neat.
It's gorgeous. It's beautiful.
Yes. Wow.
Different.
Wow.
We
You
could
got
go on all
stuff there
night.
behind you. We could sit here and look at it all night.
Yeah.
Anything else anybody wants to see here?
Better yet, just come over
What a
and you
treat.
can take a look.
Yeah.
Where do you live at?
I'm in Windsor, Ontario, across the river
Ontario.
from Detroit.
Okay. It's a little
Yay,
forward to our road
Canada.
trip for me. Beautiful stuff.
Oh.
Yeah, she makes a lot of nice stuff.
Oh my goodness.
Now I learned that from Nick Cook down in Georgia.
Yeah.
Basically, you take two rectangular pieces of wood and with a router, you make a channel on one side of each piece. You glue them together and then turn the rattle. The turning's the easy part. The only thing you have to remember is which end of the piece you put the routered end on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And inside is black-eyed peas. That way, if for some reason it broke and the kid picked up the peas and ate them, it wouldn't hurt them.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
That's good.
And if you give mom and dad one, then they can sit and play games and to music. But this was one other piece I had fun doing.
Oh, cool. Ah,
wow.
Very nice.
Love it.
And I glued the washer on or the nut on the bottom half so it wouldn't come off. It's really hard finding a wood that'll take threads well.
Right.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
I've had real good luck with mesquite. I've made quite a few bolts with mesquite with washers and stuff, but I'm using a threading jig, not hand turned. They're not hand chased. They're threading with a double 60-degree cutter in the headstock and turn it. It's a jig that homemade Dennis Paulus made it. Showed me how to use it, and it's made out of a double slide vise and turn around. I've demoed it a few times, but he's really demoed it. He's perfected it, but it works really good.
Yeah, I
That's
have.
what I did. Are the real flowers? Are the flowers wood or are they real flowers? They look like roses.
Well, they're wood too. Yeah, they're
my.
underwood.
Are you kidding me?
That way I don't have to water them too often.
Right.
There you go.
Boy, were those done wet?
When you do stuff like this, it's very thin. What you have to make sure you do is use very green wood that's tight grained.
Yes.
And then it'll take very thin cuttings and turn out basically the way you want it.
Oh, pretty.
Wow. Thank you.
I don't think they turn out the way I want them.
That's the best flowers I ever saw.
Wow.
Ruby, this is Doug. I thank you so much for coming in tonight. I really appreciate it. And I know the rest of the group does as well. Thank you.
Heck yeah. The guys from Britain told me I had to supervise you.
Somebody's got to.
But we'll
That's
have
good.
to thank them.
Okay.
The work is beautiful, Ruby. Beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Hope to see more of you then.
Hope you'll come back again next week.
Yeah.
Is it every Wednesday night?
Every Wednesday night.
Same time, same place.
I'll have to put it on my calendar then.
Every Wednesday at 7, Ruby.
All
That's
right,
our
thank
time.
you.
That's Ontario time.
Well, you can come on at 6:30.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
open
quarter to 7. They're usually here.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 My one word of advice that I can give everyone is it doesn't matter what level you're at. There's always something you can learn. And don't be afraid to travel and learn from different people. It all just adds to your repertoire of knowledge.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Great advice. Thanks, Ruby.
Great. Yes. All right. Let's go to Patrick. Yeah, Patrick.
Hey, Patrick. Wake up, Patrick.
Okay, I got it unmuted.
Yep, I can hear you.
I was about
this week.
This is my Canon. I'm a week late, but anyway.
Well, that's all right.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it looks great.
That's
Heck yeah.
nice.
That looks authentic.
Beautiful.
It
does. Looks good.
I got a diagram off the internet of a ship's cannon and kind of went by that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it looks great.
It
Tell
looks
us
like
about
you
it.
did
What
some
kind of wood
studying
is it?
before you did that.
Do what now?
Looks like you did some studying before you did that.
Yeah, I turned one before and it didn't turn out so good. And then I tried again and this one turned out pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of wood is it?
It's out of white oak. And I tried to ebonize the barrel with vinegar and steel wool, but it didn't get as dark as I wanted it. So what I did is I wound up putting Speedball Super Black on it.
Mm-hmm.
And it turned out pretty good.
You did a great job of that.
Very nice.
Thank you. And I got this piece that I turned.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes. Is
That looks like a good demo piece.
Is that mulberry?
No, it's Osage orange.
Ah, okay.
But this part here is what took so long. It took 4 hours to engrave it.
Oh my.
Wow.
But it's square, and to get these oval, it has to be shorter this way than it is this way. And you have to be careful not to go too thin or you go right through the spot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Been there, done that.
Very nice. I like that.
Looks great.
Love that shape.
Thank you. That's all I got.
Very nice.
Very nice. Super dub.
All right.
Did you by any chance paint the scene with the snow scene with the deer in the background?
The picture behind you?
My ex-wife painted that.
That's really excellent.
And the other two, my mother painted those.
Yeah, they're
Wow,
nice
beautiful.
too, but the deer really caught my eye.
Yeah,
Maybe because I like snow.
She was very talented.
Well, thanks, Patrick.
Thank you.
Anybody else got any?
I think Dave Kinsley said he had something to show.
Did I skip him?
I don't know. He wrote in after Doug's demo.
Oh. All right. See if we can find him.
Wuakeene's got something.
Good.
All right, let me I'll get you off there, Patrick.
Here's Wuakeene.
No.
Right.
Let's see. Okay.
You're muted.
No, I'm hearing.
You got me?
Yep.
All right. Well, our
Wuakeene, you're muted, buddy.
No, he's not.
No, it's not.
Everybody hear him now?
Can you hear me?
you got
Can
it.
you hear me? Testing,
Gotcha.
testing.
Muted.
Yes, we hear you fine. Floor is yours, Wuakeene.
Okay, very good. Glenn Dornack, our president, informed me earlier in this week that I had the demo for Saturday. Oh, okay. And so I was thinking of, well, what in the world can I do short notice like this? And I remembered I'd turned some offset weed vases.
Oh, yeah.
And this is,
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. I've turned several of them. This is one that decided to segment. But I had turned them like Mark Soleil turned them. He's got a video on turning them. But since in practicing, since we picked up all these offset jigs, I was out there practicing with this one, and it's screwed to this. I was afraid to use the Duxbury because it's so long. And I also drilled a 3/4 inch hole for the test tube to put water in it. And although it's kind of plain Jane, I'm not finished with it when I left it together. It's just mesquite, and so
still
that's what I'll be demoing Saturday.
Looks very nice.
Yes.
What's that chuck? It's rotating.
Yeah, it's got a recess in the bottom of it. And so it's got this adjustment that you can do. Turn it, it's off 3/4 inch right now.
Yeah.
And so I was able to turn it, with the tailstock, free center on it. I turned the body first, and then I turned the neck next. And so it's ready for finishing. Let's see. And then I'm supposed to teach a class on emerging bowls, and I've turned quite a few of these and different shapes and stuff.
That's cool.
This is out of walnut.
Beautiful.
Pretty piece.
Yeah. Well,
when you do this, Wuakeene, do you do the outside first?
I'll show you what I do. I just happen to be practicing. This is ready to go. I take two rectangles, usually about 3 inches thick, and I glue them together with newspaper. And that's what I turn first, what you see. Now, this board's not on it. It's got a board behind it, glued with newspaper as well.
Well, that's cheating or something.
Oh, that's good because you end up with two balls.
If it works, it's not cheating.
Oh, damn.
So then we put them apart, because of newspaper. And now I've centered this up and glued it on. It's got the face place on the back.
Fabulous.
And then I'm going to take sacrificial wood, 2x4s or whatever, and put all in here because I want the bow to stick up about a 1/2 inch or so higher than the block in the back. And you see, I glued this together in plywood. It's a 1/2 inch plywood. And this is a little, just out of a log.
Now, are you working to make those, the first batch, are you working to make those exactly spherical? Are they spheres?
You're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, so they're spheres.
Half a sphere.
Gotcha.
And then you're going to turn it and turn the inside like so.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. I make templates, you know, so I make sure I get this diameter right, get the inside right, and it just makes things a whole lot simpler.
Absolutely.
Wow.
So
very smart.
Graham Brooks, about 3 years ago, he turned the emerging sphere, hollow sphere. And I told him it's on my bucket list. I got to do that. And so I finally got around to doing it. This is just a piece of construction timber. I don't know what this is. Everything seems to be washing out, huh? It's a 4x6 piece of construction timber. And I just used it for practicing before I use a good piece of wood. And it had quite a bit of tear out in it. Had to do a lot of sanding on it. And I'm not really crisp in these areas right here because of the sanding I had to do because it was so rough with the tear out. And so and this one, it was a 12 inches long, another 3 inches on each side. I just screwed it to the block, the plywood. I had screws in it here. I just felt safer with it that way. And but I started out drilling the hole, and I thought, well, that's crazy. You're turning the inside blind, you know. So I turned it to turn this side. I'm a 16th off. Now I've got an 1/8 inch on one side, you know. And I said, my gosh, I got to remount the thing to get it. It was just a deal of not, you know, references. Even though I had the center point here, it was still off just a hair. And I should have went by some lines that I drew on there that I didn't. But it's, I'm looking forward to turning one out of some good wood. See how hardwood, see how it comes out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Wow.
Cade's not on yet?
Yeah, he's on.
Yeah, Cade's here.
Oh, okay. Cade.
Cade, where you at? Cade?
Wuakeene, would you post a picture of that offset jig on the website sometime when you get a chance? When you did that first piece with?
What, this one here?
Yeah. No, the other one. The one you did the tall piece with.
Oh, okay. This is a Paul Howard jig. He come up with it. And using Duxbury's jig, you know, but I didn't, with this being so long and only having the jaws holding it, I didn't feel secure. And this has got a tenon on it that goes through to this thickness. And then I've got 4 screws into here to make sure it didn't come off. I've get pretty aggressive, pretty rough.
Yeah. Cade's not in. He checked out.
Yeah, no Cade now. He's gone.
Those are very nice pieces, Wuakeene. Very nice job.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I wish you all the luck in the world in your demo.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's Glenn's fault if it goes wrong.
I went to Cade's brass turning the other night, and it was really interesting. His IRD on turning brass.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else? Anybody else tonight? Any newbies? Want to say hi? Okay. How about you, Eddie?
Everybody's quiet.
Brenda, can you tap dance?
I guess you're it, Brenda.
Can you tap dance?
No tap dance.
Yeah.
No. No.
When's the next challenge?
Challenge? No, there's no challenges.
No challenges.
I think September is the next thing we had on the list, and I don't remember what it was now.
I think there was supposed to be a Beach of Courage
coming up.
Oh, yeah, I think I was in August.
What's that?
Yeah.
And it was going to be a Beads of Courage jar box.
Boxes, yeah.
Yeah, box in August.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that. Yes, that's exactly right. Beats
Dave
Courage
said
in
something
August.
about that earlier, but he didn't have a date for it. Anybody have a date?
No, well, I think we'd have to talk to Dane about that, wouldn't we? To fit in with the demo that week or something.
Sure.
1/8/15/22 or 29. Let's call it the 15th.
I just thought I turned off my microphone a little while ago. Am I back with you yet?
Yes.
Yes, you're back with us.
Okay. I was
there you go.
There we go.
volume and turned it off. So that did adjust it. Yeah, Beads of Courage I had linked to having the Beads of Courage along with SWAT, because SWAT is where you'll see some of the finest Beads of Courage projects you've ever seen. And that's where a lot of folks bring out their work and give it away. That's what Courage is all about. And that's why we programmed it for Beads of Courage. But right after that is something dealing with plates and platters, and that would be around Labor Day. And this gives all wood turners a fair chance. I've got a really good turning buddy, and he built this house, and he had a beautiful huge mantelpiece going across his den. He had a whole bunch of small saucers like lined up on him. And I said, "That's nice. What are those?" He said, "Those are platters I've done." And I said, "Platters?" And he says, "Yeah, they all started out, it's pretty good sized platters. And, I don't throw them away." He did a whole lot of tea saucer type size. And explaining it, he said, you can get a plate or a platter out of any size wood you want. And it's really all what you do to it, how you shape it, how you contour it, how you get the lips and stuff. And the next time I visited with him, we sat down to dinner with the wives and us, and we had a wooden plate on a table. And I'm thinking, I'm not going to eat out this wooden plate. It'd be offensive. Nope. He made a wooden mirror of the glass plates he bought at the dollar store down the road for $1 a piece. He bought these plates. He made a mirror out of wood that the plates would sit inside. So you got served, and he put your plate on top of this wooden plate, and it was beautiful. It was absolutely gorgeous. And he had 4 different, very decorative woods. The prettiest was a cedar. He had a cedar to just jump out and grab you. It was beautiful. He put a great finish on it. So he played with plates and platters. And by that time, he'd grown to be a little bit better than cup saucer platter size. And but he was having fun with it. We're going to do plates and platters this year. So that's coming up in a couple of weeks. And remember, our challenge is the only prize you get is right here in your heart, because you turned something and you're proud of it. You want to show it to us. We want to see it, and our no but guarantee stands flat straight away. We can look at all the stuff you put on your gallery, all the things you turn and all, and there's not a way in the world we will permit somebody to say, "I like that butt." There's no butt. No butt. I like that. I am not qualified to put a butt on your work. I don't think we have anybody here that is qualified. You've seen some of the finest art in the entire world shown here tonight. You've seen some people, we went into their closets and looked to see what they had. I was feeling awkward tonight. Y'all was searching Ruby's house to see what she had. I'm thinking, y'all a bunch of perverts. I mean, what's going on over there? Ruby, I wouldn't say that. I want to know what that item is.
Yeah. You were sitting back hoping everybody else would.
I wouldn't say that.
That's okay because I'm my worst critic.
Oh.
Okay. But that's what we're here for. We're here to have fun and share and spread ideas and all. And we get little tidbits out of this meeting every Wednesday night. And that's why we're meeting number 196. And we're rocking on because this is about 100 folks that get together to see what's what and what's doing and share ideas. We started talking about dust collection. We had a guy that used to do HVAC, explain to us a little bit more about air movement and dust collection and the wherewithal of, if it's convenient, is it efficient? That's, you have to ask yourself, is there a trade-off? Do white wall tires that make a car go faster? Sometimes there aren't trade-offs for all this. So, and we share those ideas each week. Ducks Chuck, that's what we named Jim Duxbury's offset, eccentric offset jig, Chuck. Jim has shown us a couple of times. So we've seen several versions of it. And then Wuakeene came up, this one that showed us tonight that somebody else had helped them. He followed a template on it and showed it to us. That's all here, and it's all free. And members, you don't pay for this. You really don't. What we do, rely on you to put something on the table. Rely on you to give us one of your tips or one of your tricks, one of your ideas. Share with us your thoughts. We watched as Doug Miller turned on a lathe that he'd gotten from someone, and kind of a trade-off type thing. And I heard 4 or 5 of y'all come up with ideas how to modify his tool rest and stuff. All great ideas. All real. Maybe none of those will work. Maybe one of them will work. But unless we threw those on the table, Doug would have never heard them. So we just sit here and be quiet, be good little kids, shh, don't say anything, and be all proper. Oh, and he'd be wood turners, where we can't just say nothing. It's just impossible. So,
Eddie?
Yes, ma'am. What who you got?
Yeah, it's almost 10 o'clock, but Matt Harber says that he's got something to show.
I got something to shoot. Look, Matt.
Yes.
You got a screenshot of that, Matt? Look at that.
I love it. I was there when you put it on, Uncle Eddie.
Yeah, I was there. Look at that. The boss had to go back. My wife is taking care of her dad's. They're having some cancer surgery tonight or today. And she had to go back to the hospital. She said, if I come back tomorrow morning and you've messed up that bandage, you're going to need another bandage. I don't think she meant a replacement. What you got, Doug?
Put some Parfex on that. If it starts to come off, just put some little bit of Parfex on it.
I got Parfex on it now.
Yeah.
What about it? They pull it off. I still got a little fuzz of hair up there. This isn't an injury. This is an investigation. So what you got, Matt?
All right, let's go to Matt.
Well, I needed a business card holder for the show. This is a few months ago, and I was playing around in the bandsaw with 1/4-inch plywood. So I wanted something a little fancier than the normal run-of-the-mill business card holder. And this is not really turning. This is just bandsaw work. But this is what I made. And I saw a park bench, and I thought that would look really cool. And it's just 3 pieces of wood, 2 of them that were stacked together and cut in that sort of template, and then a little piece that goes between them. That, there's slots in each one, so it slides on there. And the business cards just sit in there like that. You know what I mean?
That is cute.
So it was just like I say, it's not wood turning, but I was just playing around with the bandsaw.
Yeah, but most of us need that idea, right?
Yeah. I saw a pattern for that on one of the NEJE laser sites. Somebody had a free pattern that you can type it in and run it out in an EG site. Because there's a lot of folks playing with those lasers. I wish I've had fun with mine, but I have to stay away from it right now. if I tell my wife I'm going to go back and burn on a little something, she gets real upset. Gets this big red thing out the kitchen and it comes follows me.
Well, there are certainly a lot of ideas on how to make something like that. Yeah, it's just something I was playing around with, and I was trying to enhance my my bandsaw skills for making little things like that. So
yeah. Hey,
it was fun. I will admit there was a lot of sanding.
We're losing a lot of people here. So before everybody logs out real quick, let's go to Donald. And
there it is.
Hey, Donald.
A reminder before everybody logs out.
Save the chat.
There you go. Save. Yes.
Masonry.
Thanks, Donald. Before you log out, make sure you save the chat.
Right. It will be on our website when David, our master webmaster, posts this meeting and the excerpts of the demonstration out of our meeting by Doug Miller tonight. If you want to see it, interesting demonstration. If you didn't see it all, it'll be there. And this may be the only place in the world that you can do that, is that what we do here is always available on our website at no cost, no obligation, no commitment, no advertisements,
no membership fee.
No, it is as free can get, and it's there because you put it there, folks. And we want you to bring a friend when you come back. It's all about getting a bunch of wood turners together on the tailgate, telling lies. I mean, I'm talking about wood turning.
And you know what, Eddie? Let me take a minute real quick just to thank you for starting this, coming up with the idea and going through with it, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, you're more than welcome, but it wasn't just me. I was at SWAT 4 years ago, and I sat in front of Ruth Niles' booth. She sells bottle stoppers now. That outlaw, what's his name, Carl, whatever. The outlaw and his wife runs an operation. But they got the world's greatest machinist working for them. But I sat there and talked with wood turners for 4 days. And I didn't go to a demonstration. I didn't move. I sat there and talked to turners. And into the 3rd day, I realized I had talked to those folks about the same thing over and over and over and over again, because I realized there was no place to go and do that. There was no place where we could all get together and just talk. Mm-hmm. There's no way we could share the stuff and talk about a jig or a rig or a detailer or whatever without having a commercial jam down our throat, or being forced to join something, or have to buy this magazine, or I have to be a member of the club, or I have to do this, or I have to do that. And this became available as all I have to do is be a member. That's
what we appreciate you, Eddie.
That's why we're here. Yeah. I love you folks. You make my week. You really do. And don't worry about this.
We love you, Eddie.
They're going to dig in here and find the brain. It's going to be defective, but they're going to find the brain. It's going to be all right.
You might find another wood lathe inside there.
Oh, would that be cool? Would that little bitty little, Oh, it could be pretty good size. A lot of room in there. Right.
Just a little tuning. They're just fine tuning you, buddy. That's all they're doing.
We're here every Wednesday evening. We start at 5:30 p.m. Central Time. You can access through our website. Anytime you need us, go to our website, go to our contact page. You can get to our contact list, and because we don't have a members list. We're not that formal, but we can help you any way we can. Just let us know. I'm Captain Eddie Cass on behalf of the entire world of wood turners, especially this crowd right here. Thank you, and please be safe. Save the chat. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Eddie.
Good night, Eddie.
We are going to stay on for a little bit, I think, and just to see what else anybody has.
I want to put my 2 cents in also. For this platform has been wonderful for me. I've met a bunch of you people that I never would have met. People like Wuakeene and Doug and Brenda and Eddie and all these. I'm delighted to have met all you folks, and the demonstrations have been fantastic. And when you've asked me to do demonstrations, that's helped me become a better turner and a better demonstrator and teacher. And it's a wonderful platform for all of us. I've learned so much, and I'm eternally grateful for having it.
Yeah.
So
second that.
Yeah, that goes for everybody, Eddie.
Yeah.
Right.
I like telling.
We love
I
you
know
too.
people in the UK and people in Australia.
You get out of it what you
it's
put
everywhere.
Yep.
Well, the other way not to make a mistake.
Don't do anything.
Don't do anything.
That's it. Straight up.
Yeah.
Hey, I can't do that. How do you know? Did you ever hear that when you were growing up?
Oh yeah.
Can't do that. How do you know?
I'll never understand.